Chapter 346. With Sheng Xiao and the others leaving Jianchuan, the Sheng family certainly felt uneasy, especially the old man and Mama Sheng. Sheng Xiao did not tell Mama Sheng about Jing Yun's parentage, nor did he explain why he brought Mu Qiqi away from Jianchuan. That way Mama Sheng had no right to speak before the old man, because she had no confidence at all. How angry was the old man! Everyone in the Sheng family could see it. The names Jing Yun and Mu Qiqi were like poison to the old man, and no one dared to touch them. He hated them so much, hating them for turning the Sheng family upside down and leaving no one in peace. In the study, the old man was still fuming, but Mama Sheng came up to him to comfort him. "Father, Sheng Xiao would definitely give you an explanation. He kept it from you. How dare you tell me that he would give me an explanation?" Grandpa Sheng asked Mama Sheng in return. Eighth brother wasn't like this before. He wasn't like this at all. Ever since he got together with Mu Qiqi, he kept challenging my authority and my bottom line. Does Mu Qiqi have such a big impact on him? Mama Sheng's lips moved, but she said nothing. How could I hold myself back until they get married? Father, even if you don't care about anything else, shouldn't you care about the Shen family? In the end, the Shen family is a family of generals. Huang Yao is already on the verge of collapse. Why would I care about the Shen family? The old man sneered. Xiaoqin, I'll make it clear to you today. As long as I'm alive, Mu Qiqi would never marry into the Sheng family. No, it's not just in life. Even in death, I would never allow Sheng Xiao to be with Mu Qiqi in my will, or I wouldn't rest in peace. Mama Sheng's heart turned cold at those words. She was worried and indignant. Why was it always Mu Qiqi's fault in the end? Fourth sister and Jing Yun are in love. What does that have to do with Mu Qiqi? And Sheng Xiao, forgive me for being blunt, but he would still be like that even if Mu Qiqi didn't show up. He never obeyed you, and it's not something that only happens when Mu Qiqi shows up. Why is Mu Qiqi the scapegoat in the end? Dad, are you being fair? The old man flicked his sleeves and snorted. There's no such thing as fairness or unfairness. You can refuse to acknowledge Qiqi, but you will never get eighth brother's obedience. Do you really think that eighth brother cares about Huang Yao and your family business? He can leave Huang Yao with nothing, but you know very well that he has the ability to make a comeback and build a career more glorious than Huang Yao. Is he threatened by you? Don't lie to yourself anymore. After that, Mama Sheng turned around. I don't want to be in this family anymore. Dad, you can find someone else. Mama Sheng did not say anything else and walked out of Grandpa Sheng's study. Communicating with extreme people would only intensify the conflict in the end. There would be no other results. On the other hand, Sheng Xiao guessed that the old man's patience was at its limit, so he gave Mama Sheng a call. Where did you go? Don't you know that Grandpa Sheng has been furious at the Sheng family for days because he thought that all of you had eloped together? Mom, we've been investigating Jing Yun's background, and it's proven that he is the third young master of Su Holdings. Are you talking about that medical group? Mama Sheng had heard about it too. Yes. Does that mean Jing Yun is a descendant of a rich family? Mama Sheng asked in return, quickly catching the gist of Sheng Zhao's words. Interesting, isn't it? Of course it is. Do you know what your grandfather called Jing Yun? A dog of the Sheng family. With that, the old man's face would probably be slapped swollen again. How much longer do you need? Around 2 days. Alright, I'll hold it off for 2 days. Come back as soon as you can. After all, Jing Yun had been with the Sheng family for so many years. He had worked hard even if not meritorious, but in the end, who in the Sheng family would remember his kindness? Everyone treated his efforts as a matter of course. Even so, Jing Yun should be repaying fourth sister. What does that have to do with the rest of the Sheng family? He had worked with the Sheng family since he was young, and it was the Sheng family who gave him opportunities. Even so, he had proven his ability with his achievements. But what did the old man think of him? A dog? If Jing Yun really was a dog, he would be better than those lazy worms in the Sheng family. Thanks, Mom. By the way, did you know that your grandfather has blamed your rebellion and Jing Yun and fourth sister's problems on Mu Qiqi? Sheng Xiao did not say anything, but the light in his eyes was unusually sharp. The old man will not be able to stand it soon, and he will come up with new tricks. I wonder what he will come up with this time. Eighth brother, what I mean is leave the Sheng family and marry into the Shen family. I won't stop you no matter what, as long as you don't have to stay with the Sheng family in this place where you can't even breathe. I'm prepared, Mom. Don't worry. Sheng Xiao replied. It's just that you have to suffer. I've lived for most of my life. What do I have to suffer? It's not like I can't live without the Sheng family, so I won't talk to you anymore. Finish your business and come back as soon as possible. Sheng Xiao hung up and turned to Mu Qiqi. Did you hear that? Your mother-in-law is asking me to marry into the Shen family. Ha! Mu Qiqi did a double take. Are you willing? The Shen family would welcome you 10,000 times over if you are. Little one. Sheng Xiao pinched Mu Qiqi's nose before burying himself in his work. Of course, Sheng Xiao was aware that the old man had suspended Jing Yun from his duties as well. The next day Mr. and Mrs. Su brought Su Yihong to the hotel, which counted as a formal greeting between Jing Yun and the so-called eldest brother. Sheng Xiao did not show up and stayed with Mu Qiqi in the room. Sheng Minglan stayed beside Jing Yun, and the family ate in a luxurious dining room. Su Yihong sat beside Papa Su, studying his younger brother diagonally across from him. To think that the inconspicuous young man was actually his younger brother. He was nothing like the impostor before, and appeared so calm and composed, without the vigor that a young man of his age should have. Yifeng, about the impostor, it was my fault. I didn't consider your feelings and I apologize. Your brother did it because of my illness. Mama Su quickly explained in Su Yihong's stead. I didn't take it to heart. Jing Yun replied. Well, how have you been living out there all these years? Then, how have you been out there all these years? Jing Yun knew very well that it was a ploy. Even so, he answered honestly, the Sheng family saved me and I'm living well there. Chapter 347. Then have you remembered who you are and are looking for us? Not long ago, the young madam of the Sheng family saw you giving a speech at Xingting University in Jianchuan. She thought that we look alike, which is why she helped me search for my identity. Jing Yun answered honestly. I see. Su Yihong nodded. Now that you're back, you should spend more time by mom and dad's side. They've missed you for years, and since we're moving to Jianchuan soon, you could move back home. Mama Su looked at Jing Yun expectantly. Feng will you? I still need some time to get used to it. Jing Yun answered sincerely again. Feng has just met his family. It'll be fine if you spend more time with them. Papa Su said cheerfully. That's true. I'm not doing my duty as a brother to take care of my younger brother, and I'll make it up to you twice as much. Is this young lady your girlfriend? After looking at Jing Yun, Su Yihong turned to Sheng Minglan. She's the fourth daughter of the Sheng family and your brother's girlfriend. Mama Su answered on his behalf. Even so, there was something else in Su Yihong's eyes at that. Naturally, Jing Yun was looking straight at Su Yihong as well. Both brothers had their own thoughts, and neither could tell what the other was planning. Halfway through the meal, Su Yihong received a call. It appeared to be an emergency, and he rose to his feet to tell his parents, Dad, Mom, the lab has exploded. I have to go back and take a look. Hurry. Papa Su quickly said. Well, we'll meet in private, brother. Jing Yun nodded and watched as Su Yihong left. Still, he did not think that Su Yihong had left because of some accident, and that the call was merely an excuse to leave. Your brother is so busy. Mama Su smiled and began to serve Jing Yun some food. Ma. Jing Yun called out unnaturally, unbeknownst to Mama Su how moved she was. Hey, go ahead. There's something I'd like to tell you in advance. Minglan and I didn't get the support of her family, but that's not why I'm here looking for my parents. It's just too much of a coincidence to discover your existence, and I'm afraid you'll misunderstand. Jing Yun explained. Silly child, there's no misunderstanding. You're the third young master of the Su family. You're our precious son. Everything in the Su family belongs to you and your children. If you say that, Mom and Dad will feel even more guilty. That's right, Fenger. You're our son, but you're actually restricted even when you're in a relationship. As a father, how uncomfortable is that? Thank you for your understanding. You're really too polite. Jing Yun had explained the issue beforehand so that Su Yihong would not have a chance to take advantage of it. Of course, Su Yihong had left the banquet not because of the explosion, but because he had sent someone to investigate how Jing Yun had been living in the Sheng family over the years. Feng, just go to the Sheng family and take care of your affairs. Tell me if you need anything, and when we get to Jianchuan, we'll directly announce your identity and bring you back to the Su family. Moreover, we could give the Sheng family some compensation to thank them for their years of nurturing you. That was the most appropriate attitude parents should have towards their children. Jing Yun replied to his parents at that. I can repay the Sheng family myself. Old Sheng now saw him as a thorn in his side, and anyone who saw him would probably want to chop him into minced meat. Would he still dare to face the old man under such circumstances? Of course. He would bravely appear before the old man for Sheng Minglan's sake. Xing Xiao was right next door. Naturally, he was not interested in the family's conversation. Still, he was curious about the relationship between Su Yihong and his eldest uncle. The impostor had said that the two had met in private. If that was the case, they must be connected to each other to some extent. Meanwhile, Su Yihong had certainly found a perfect excuse to leave the hotel, because he felt uncomfortable even looking at Jing Yun for a second longer. Soon, he had someone investigate everything about Jing Yun and the Sheng family. After all, Jing Yun was now hated by the old man, and it would be much easier for him to be investigated. That was why Su Yihong easily understood why Jing Yun was in a hurry to return to the Su family. When the Su couple returned home that night, they found Su Yihong waiting in the living room and went up to him. "You have something to say to us?" "Dad, Mom, there's something I don't know if I should say." Su Yihong pretended to be troubled. "Tell me. It's about your brother." A woman's intuition had always been accurate. "I know you're happy to have found Yifeng, and I'm thrilled as your eldest brother. Still, I've investigated Yifeng for your safety, and found out that he has been working as an assistant to the Crown Prince of Huangyao over the years. The Sheng family seems to be looking for him, thinking that he has eloped with the young lady of the Sheng family. Don't blame me for being paranoid, Mom and Dad, I just think it's too much of a coincidence, isn't it?" "What are you trying to say?" Papa Su's face darkened at once. "Is he trying to use the Su family to help him marry fourth sister?" "Dad, I know it's only right since he's a member of the Su family, but I really can't feel at ease if he really came home with ulterior motives. What do you think, Mom?" Mama Su looked at Su Yihong as a stranger at those words. "Yihong, are you hoping that your brother won't come home?" "Mom, I'm just afraid that you'll be fooled again. But the DNA test results are out. It's your brother, and he looks exactly like your father when he was young. He's a member of the Su family in every sense of the word." Mama Su told Su Yihong seriously. "Your brother has suffered and been tired for so many years, and yet you, as his elder brother, did not help him find the culprit who abandoned him, and even accuse him of having ulterior motives?" "Well, he's already explained it to us if you're worried about that." With that, Mama Su returned to her room. "I'm tired. I want to rest." Su Yihong felt a chill inside. He did not expect Jing Yun to be so vigilant. He had already explained the matter to his parents, and yet he still tried to sow discord. It served him right to be scolded by his mother. It seems that he really should not underestimate Jing Yun. Still, he could sit still right now. But he would never expect that Xing Xiao would be peeling his skin off behind his back. Chapter 348. But what about his motive? Was he simply afraid that his brother would steal what belonged to him? That reason was so thin that it was not enough for him to take such a risk. Soon Jing Yun's men had some idea as well. Su Yihong's first half of his life had been too outstanding and ordinary, and he had never stirred up a storm for Jing Yun. It was as if everything about him was under Jing Yun's control. The only suspicious point was the relationship between Su Yihong and his eldest uncle. "Young master, what do you think about this? Since we can't find the answer by following it, let's think in reverse and make a few hypotheses." Xing Xiao said to Jing Yun as he sipped his coffee. "Let's say that there was a deal between your eldest brother and your eldest uncle. That means that you were abandoned by one of them. When your mother brought you to the airport where all kinds of people are mixed up, one of them took you away when your mother wasn't paying attention and sent you to Jianchuan to be abandoned. If that's the case, the fault lies with your mother. At the time, your father was fully on his guard against your eldest uncle, which was why the chances of him doing anything were minuscule. In other words, your father and your eldest uncle were fighting for control, and if your eldest uncle really wanted to do something like that, he would have captured you and your mother to threaten your father instead of sending you away. Moreover, your eldest brother had gone to the Su family's mansion on the island the day before it happened. Who would have the chance now?" Jing Yun's eyes became very deep at Xing Xiao's analysis. "The answer lies with your eldest brother. Is he really afraid that you would share everything with the Su family, or is there another reason? Still, since you have returned to the Su family, it is only a matter of time before he makes his next move." Xing Xiao raised a brow. "He would interfere with your parents' search for the culprit many years ago, and as long as you remain clear-headed, the truth would come to light sooner or later." "I understand. It's fortunate that your parents are wise enough. With that being the case, we can return home." Xing Xiao smiled. "Have the Su family move to Jianchuan as soon as possible. That way you could have your men continue searching for clues here, and Jianchuan is our world. Your eldest brother would have to ask me if he really wants to do anything to you again." Xing Minglan listened to Xing Xiao's analysis and couldn't help praising Xing Xiao. "We're all from the Sheng family. Why are you so smart with that brain of yours?" "You ask me? Who should I ask?" Xing Xiao smiled playfully. It's going to be another bloodbath if we return to the Sheng family now. Who told you to like him? Sheng Xiao asked in return, pointing at Jing Yun with his chin. It couldn't be helped. It was fate, and Sheng Minglan could only resign herself to fate when she met Jing Yun. Late at night, the Su family. Su Yihong felt that he had really underestimated Jing Yun's ability. Don't forget who Jing Yun was with, the crown prince of Huangyao. Who in the country didn't know what kind of person he was? How could Xing Zhao's subordinates be bad? Therefore, the move he made at night was indeed careless, and now it made his parents unhappy. Fortunately, he was just unhappy. If he could throw Jing Yun away once, he could do it again. He couldn't let Jing Yun remember everything. It would be too late if that happened. Then he dialed a familiar number, but he didn't save the name. Hello. Mom and Dad have found third brother. They're investigating why he was abandoned at Jianchuan all those years ago. Su Yihong told the person on the other end. Let them. They wouldn't find any evidence unless that brat remembers it himself. Otherwise they can't do anything if you deny it. The person on the other end replied. Most importantly, don't let them find out who you are. Of course I know how to take precautions. Su Yihong replied. But you have to create some distractions to confuse them. Don't worry about that. I'll slowly look for a chance. Looks like I have to earn my brother's trust first. Su Yihong was a good thinker, which was why he told his mother the next morning, Mom, I was overthinking last night. I shouldn't have doubted Yifeng like that. He's been out there all these years and who knows how much suffering and mockery he's endured. Even if I have to give up my life today, I should make it up to him. It's good that you know. Well, why don't you and Dad go with Yifeng to Jianchuan? The house there is already prepared anyway, and you could visit Yifeng when he goes to the Sheng family as a way to thank the Sheng family. While you're at it, you could also announce Yifeng's identity in front of the Sheng family. That way, Yifeng would be able to hold his head up high in the Sheng family. What do you think? Mama Su found that reasonable at that. We'll do as you say. Yihong, you have to take good care of your brother from now on. Don't worry. I'll take good care of Yifeng. Since Yifeng is returning to Jianchuan in the afternoon, we might as well not tell him. We'll give him a surprise and go straight to the Sheng family. That works. Su Yihong nodded. That way old Sheng would be caught off guard. Even if the Sheng family had nurtured Jing Yun, whose son were they looking down on? Mama Su was very protective of her son. Mama Su told Papa Su about the matter, who agreed wholeheartedly. Well, we'll make it public when we get to Jianchuan. Who cares about the Sheng family or Huangyao? What's so bad about the Su family? Jing Yun was not aware of his parents' plans. Meanwhile, the quartet were already on their way back to Jianchuan. Jing Yun intended to bring Xing Minglan to Old Sheng and lay all his cards on the table. Of course, he did not intend to use his parents' name to beg for the old man's forgiveness. After all, what if he was not lucky enough to reunite with his parents? No matter what the consequences were, he could bear it even if the old man said or did something ugly. Xing Minglan could guess what Jing Yun was thinking, and so tightened her grip on his hand. Sometimes I don't know if you're a stickler for the rules or stubborn. Either way, the chairman would find out sooner or later. Let him accumulate some embarrassment first, and it would be much easier for old Master Sheng to agree to the marriage later. That was Jing Yun's little plan, and he told no one about it. Seeing that the two were on high alert, Mu Qiqi smiled, leaning over Xing Zhao's body. I wonder what a good show the Sheng family would have tonight. Meanwhile, Mr. and Mrs. Su had boarded the plane earlier than Xing Xiao and the others so that they wouldn't miss their visit to the Sheng family. Why don't you guess? Xing Xiao pinched the tip of Mu Qiqi's nose. Chapter 349. Once the quartet's flight reached Jianchuan, old Xing's men at the airport went up to Xing Minglan and caught her. I'm sorry, fourth sister. Xing Minglan stared at Jing Yun in shock. Jing Yun wasn't any better. 2 security guards came up to him and held him down, ready to bring both of them back to Xing Mansion. Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi were right behind them, but Xing Xiao did not interfere. It's obvious how angry the old man is. Will Jing Yun be fine? Will the old man eat him? With that, Xing Xiao led Mu Qiqi to the airport parking lot and drove his sports car back to Xing Mansion. When the old man learned that they were caught at the airport, he had the entire Xing family return home early to see how this family scandal would be dealt with. Soon the two were brought back to Xing Mansion. Almost everyone in the Sheng family was there, including Mama Sheng, who had just returned from Huangyao without delay. After all, it was a matter of 2 children. The old man was sitting at the main seat in the living room. He promptly closed his eyes and took a deep breath when he saw Xing Minglan and Xing Xiao being brought into the living room, as if trying hard to control himself. You still remember to come back. The old man said meaningfully before opening his eyes to look at them. Come here, fourth sister. Xing Minglan looked at the old man and then at Jing Yun. Her heart was filled with fear, but she had promised Jing Yun that she would never surrender to the old man. That was why even if she hesitated for a moment, she still slowly approached the old man. The old man cocked his head and rose to look at her. But before he could say anything, a slap flew towards her. That was when Jing Yun stepped forward and the old man's slap landed on his head, startling Xing Minglan and every other member of the Sheng family. Jing Yun, I'm fine. Jing Yun's ears were ringing from the force of the slap, and one could imagine how much strength the old man had used. You're just a watchdog of the Sheng family. What right do you have to take a slap for the young lady of the Sheng family? Grandfather? Xing Minglan quickly stepped in front of the old man. Get out of my way. Grandpa Xing pushed her away. I don't have a shameless granddaughter like you. What's the difference between you and seventh sister? It's just that they're all willful and impulsive. Jing Yun did not retort at all. He simply reached out to hold Xing Minglan because she almost fell because of Grandpa Sheng's strength. It's me who likes Miss Minoru. This has nothing to do with her. Chairman, if you want to cause trouble, come at me. The old man's face and ears were red. It was obvious that he was furious to the extreme, which was why he paced around the living room. Jing Yun, tell me, how ungrateful can you be? The Sheng family took you in, raised you and groomed you. Is this how you repay me? Who are you? Don't you know what's going on? I'll tell you clearly today that the women of the Sheng family will only marry rich men. They would never marry someone like you. Even if you can't bear to part with each other, even if you already have a child, you must abort it. I will never let any random person enter the Sheng family's territory. Jing Yun, do you know how disgusting you are? What has the Sheng family not treated you well? Why would you bite the hand that fed you? Jing Yun said nothing. He simply endured it in silence. Xing Minglan could not listen to it anymore. She walked up to Jing Yun and told the old man, You're just my grandfather. What right do you have to interfere with my life? I can be with whoever I want. What right do you have to interfere? Because I'm your grandfather. Because I raised you. If I wasn't born into the Sheng family, do you think I would want to stay in this hell? Are you satisfied if everyone lives like they're in prison? Xing Minglan questioned the old man loudly. Do you think I care about you raising me? I just didn't have a choice. Xing Minglan. You look down on Mu Qiqi and Jing Yun. Do you know that you're the one we all look down on the most? Grandfather, you interfere with our children's freedom and arrange our marriages. Do you know that the Sheng family has suffered so many tragedies because of a dictator like you? I'll kill you. The old man was utterly infuriated. He walked up and tried to hit Xing Minglan with his crutch, but Jing Yun caught him. Chairman, the old man glared at Jing Yun with bloodshot eyes, and then at Xing Minglan who was behind him. Finally he put down his crutch. No matter how much you hate me, I'm your grandfather. That will never change. And since I'm your grandfather, I won't allow you to mess around outside. From today onwards, stay at home and never leave. I'll send someone to watch over you and follow you until you marry someone I'm satisfied with. As for him, what do you want to do to him? Xing Zhao's voice reached everyone's ears from the door. The old man turned to look at Xing Xiao and promptly swung his crutch at him. Xing Xiao dodged it and sat down with Mu Qiqi. Did I miss a good show? You can't protect your dog even if you come back. The old man snorted coldly. Why do I feel that this dog of mine is much better than your good-for-nothing dog? Xing Xiao retorted. You can look down on Jing Yun, but he doesn't owe you anything. You know very well how much Jing Yun has done for Huang Yao over the years, and you're just bullying him because he's not good with words. Eighth brother, why are you still meddling in fourth sister's affairs when you found yourself a bride? Second uncle was naturally displeased with Xing Zhao's actions. She was his daughter after all, and although he had neither the right nor the right to control her, she was his daughter after all. I don't want to, but can you, second uncle? Xing Zhao's retort left second uncle speechless. That's why you're more guilty than those two, the old man said, pointing at Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao was not annoyed, and simply held his little one's hand, looking as if he was never afraid of anyone. So, what do you plan to do with those two? I'll find another suitable candidate and marry your fourth sister to him. And then this person. The old man pointed at Jing Yun, his words as humiliating as he could. I'll make sure he has no place in Jianchuan. How dare he seduce the granddaughter of the Sheng family? I'll make sure he dies a horrible death. He won't have no place to stay. He could stay in Jingting however he wants. Xing Xiao quickly answered with a smile. That's why your threats are meaningless. Chapter 350. Jingyun did not speak for a long time. But at that moment he finally spoke with a very sincere tone. Chairman, Miss Minglan and I are in love with each other. I know that you feel humiliated by my identity and status. What we have done is very hurtful to you. But Minglan is an independent person with a complete personality. Even if you could lock her up for a while, you can't lock her up forever. As for me, you look down on me now because I have nothing. I have nothing to say, but I can't be poor for the rest of my life. I can do many things for Minglan, including building a new business empire for her. You? The old man couldn't help sneering. You dare boast like that with your background? I have no background, but Chairman, the ancestors of Huang Yao had built this empire bit by bit. Moreover, you should know very well how capable I am after so many years. I really can. A beggar is a beggar. So what if you are capable? There are millions of capable people in this world. Do you think I would agree to every one of them marrying Minglan? The old man sneered. You're right. I do look down on you, but it's not just because you have nothing and no background, but also because you're an ingrate and a traitor. How could the Sheng family tolerate a stain like you? Chairman, that's enough. Don't even think about saying sweet nothings to me. I will never agree to you being with fourth sister. Today you stood here and took a slap for fourth sister. You didn't act like a coward and didn't dare to admit what you did. I respect that you have some backbone. However, if you come into contact with Minglan again, I will definitely cripple you. Tisk tisk. Sheng Xiao clicked his tongue before laughing at the old man. Don't be so hasty. What if you missed out on a golden bachelor? Eighth brother, I'm going to punish Jingyun even if you're here today. Do whatever you want as long as you don't regret it. Sheng Xiao mocked. I don't believe you could eat him. I can't eat him, but I can dismember his limbs. He's just a stray dog. Everyone was stunned at those words. While the Sheng family had always been insufferably arrogant, they had never humiliated and trampled on others like this. Furthermore, it was harming someone else's body. This was retribution. Sheng Minglan looked worriedly at Jingyun, who blinked and reassured her. Sheng Minglan covered her face and sobbed in a corner. She really hated the Sheng family and Grandpa Sheng's control. If you dare touch Jingyun, just wait for my corpse tomorrow. Sheng Minglan threatened the old man. I won't let him go even if you threaten me this time. Jingyun, you go first. Sheng Xiao no longer had the patience to continue arguing with the old man, and so told Jingyun, I promise you that the old man will send fourth sister to you in no time at all, begging you to stay with the Sheng family. Jingyun looked at Sheng Xiao and then at Sheng Minglan. Sheng Minglan also wanted him to leave. Go first. I promise you that I will take care of myself. But I want to take you away. Jingyun. Sheng Xiao's hint was clear. Jingyun must leave now. Arguing with the old man would only worsen the conflict. One could imagine that Jingyun would never get past the old man if he wasn't a member of the Su family. It was Sheng Xiao's last test for the old man, and he no longer held any hope in the old man when he saw how the old man was behaving. Don't even think about leaving. Go! Sheng Xiao shouted at once. Could the old man do anything to Sheng Xiao? No. Anyone who stops Jingyun today will go home and eat themselves. If you're afraid of being fired by the old man and won't listen to my orders, just wait for my retribution. I believe it would be carved into your bones. Sheng Xiao was threatening the security guards and servants. At this moment, the servants were in a dilemma. The others did not even dare to breathe too loudly, and the atmosphere was tense and stiff. In the end, Jingyun looked at Sheng Minglan and said, Wait for me. He understood then that authority and status were so important. If he didn't have a trump card, he wouldn't have been able to take Sheng Minglan away even if he died here. All of them knew how disgusting old Sheng could be. Mama Sheng couldn't help sneering at the sight. To think that there's such a grandfather in this world. What a surprise. I'll definitely wait for you. Sheng Minglan told Jingyun. Then Jingyun bowed 3 times at the old man before leaving the living room. The old man couldn't do anything to him because Sheng Xiao was protecting him with everything he had. That's how you pushed your fourth sister into a pit of fire? That's how you are, a traitor. Don't think that I can't do anything to him if he walks out the door. Of course you can trouble him in private, but I'm sure you won't be able to soon because you're so snobbish. Just as Sheng Xiao finished, the butler rushed in from outside and told the old man, Master, it's a visiting card from Su Holdings. The couple said that they're here to thank you. The old man took the card and saw that it was from a major family and asked the butler, Where are they? Outside. Please come in. Su Holdings and Su Holdings had seen Jingyun being brought to the Sheng residence, but had stayed outside the door all along and did not enter. When they saw Jing Yun walk out of the house, they knew that their son had been wronged. Of course, they didn't go up to comfort him, since everyone had their pride. They could all see how much Jing Yun blamed himself for it. He felt useless, incapable, and had nothing at all. He couldn't snatch Xing Minglan from the old man's hands. Be that as it may, Xing Xiao was the only one in the Xing family who wasn't suppressed by this old man, who could win against him. Heartbroken, the Su couple hurried to the old man's door to demand justice for their son. Old Xing simply didn't know why the Su couple would come to thank him. What was there to thank? While the Xing family was still around, he told them to change their expressions and treat their guests better. Soon, the Su couple entered the living room and greeted the old man politely. "You must be old Mr. Sheng. I've heard so much about you." Old Xing reined in his rage and became courteous towards them. After all, he had heard of Su Holdings' reputation as well. "May I know what urgent matter brings you to my humble abode?" Chapter 351. "May I know who you are referring to, Jing Yun?" Mama Su answered the old man with a smile. "He is my third son, Su Yifeng, a long-lost child of the Su family." The Sheng family was left stunned at that. Everyone's eyes widened. How was that possible? It was impossible. "Thank you for your years of nurturing me, old Mr. Sheng," Papa Su said, offering the gift. "I don't know what you like, which is why I've brought this precious item as a token of my appreciation." The butler took the gift and handed it to the old man, who was left stunned when he saw it. It was a national treasure, and the Su family was giving it to him just like that. Moreover, he did not expect that Jing Yun was the third son of the Su family, and a descendant of a noble family. Even so, the scene of him humiliating Jing Yun had just played out here, and now Jing Yun's parents were here. How ironic. Everyone in the Sheng family was stunned, save for those who knew about it. The old man could only feel a sense of humiliation and indignation filling his entire body. He never thought that Jing Yun had such a background, and yet he— "Thank you, you too." Actually, Jing Yun is sensible, capable, and very likable. The sound of slaps on the face could be clearly heard in the large living room. The old man was actually boasting shamelessly, calling Su Yifeng a stray dog just moments ago and calling him a lunatic. And yet, in just a moment, his choice of words had changed dramatically. How laughable. "That's right. It took us a long time to find our son, and we want to give him the best things in the world. That's why Huang Yao might have to groom a new assistant, and Feng would return to inherit the family business," Mama Su deliberately said in front of the old man. "That would be a great loss for Huang Yao?" Mama Su laughed, but noticed that Xing Minglan's eyes were red and waved at fourth sister. "What's wrong, fourth sister? Why are your eyes so red?" "She's just a kid who likes to cause trouble, so I've scolded her a little. Feng likes that kid and so do we. I just don't know if old Mr. Sheng would agree to it." The Su family was a renowned family in the medical field. Unless Elder Su's brain was damaged, he wouldn't agree to it. However, considering the situation just now, his words were a different story. "Auntie, to tell you the truth, Jing Yun was bullied quite badly just now." Xing Minglan seized the chance to tell Mama Su. Grandpa thought that Jing Yun had no background and was poor, so he humiliated him and disagreed with us being together. Mama Su's expression changed at that, and she turned to old Sheng. "Old Mr. Y. I didn't know Jing Yun's identity. I thought it said that one shouldn't bully a young man for being poor. Shouldn't an old man look at the young man in the long term?" Papa Su promptly cut old Sheng short. "And here I thought that Feng would tell you that he is the young master of the Su family." "So he didn't? Since the Su family is indebted to you, old mister, we won't hold it against you. Still, Feng is the third young master of the Su family from now on, and naturally wouldn't return to the Xing family." "Of course. As for Minglan, I really like her, but I can see that you really don't want her to be with our Feng. That's why we shouldn't force it," Mama Su said deliberately. "I'm really sorry for bothering you today." Old Sheng's expression was awkward, even angry. After all, he was humiliating someone else's child just a second ago, and the next second, someone else's parents came to him. Moreover, Jing Yun was no stray dog, but the third young master of the Su family. "Butler, see our guests out." The old man did not keep the Su couple. How could he? "Oh, by the way, we'll announce that Feng has returned to the Su family. We'll invite guests when the time comes, and we hope that you would do us the honor of coming, old Mr. Sheng." "Of course," the old man said with a sheepish smile. After that, the Su couple left, and the old man turned to Xing Xiao again. "You did it on purpose. You knew about this all along, didn't you?" "So what?" Xing Xiao retorted. "You've always despised the poor and loved the rich. If I don't leave a deep impression on you, how would you know that there's a saying in this world? Don't bully the poor when you're young? You can humiliate Jing Yun all you want. It's fine. After all, he has all the ways to make trouble for you and take his revenge after he inherits the Su family's business. Unless you're not sick. The old man clutched his chest in frustration and stumbled a few steps back. The Su family is moving to Jianchuan soon. It's fine if you don't agree to fourth sister and Jing Yun being together. They would still be together anyway, and it just depends on whether you want to be bullied or thanked. The old man closed his eyes, clearly sensing Xing Zhao's threat. If the old man did not let Xing Minglan go, it would be the Sheng family who would suffer when Jing Yun took his revenge. Take your time to think about it. Xing Zhao glanced at the old man before turning to Mama Sheng. Both mother and son shared a look with a tacit understanding between them. After a while, the old man closed his eyes and told Xing Minglan, "Go, fourth sister." What else could he do? When Jing Yun tried everything he could to persuade him, the old man refused and wanted to humiliate him. But now that he knew who Jing Yun was, he could only admit defeat and appease him. Wasn't that despicable? Xing Minglan glanced at the old man and promptly ran out of the Xing residence. The old man knew very well how much she hated the old man. His granddaughter was gone. Be that as it may, he did not lose anything by marrying into the Su family in name. Still, he was not sure if Jing Yun would hold a grudge for what happened today. Let's go. We've had enough drama. The old man was exhausted. Eighth brother, you really want to see me die. If you're a good grandfather, everyone wants you to live to 100 years old. At those words, the old man turned and left the living room. Of course, Xing Zhao had a new plan in mind after that. It was time to say goodbye to the Sheng family. Otherwise, there was no guarantee that he and Xiaoqia would not face such a scene one day. He knew very well what the old man was planning. It's treacherous to toy with your grandfather like that. Mama Sheng criticized Xing Zhao afterward. Still, I have to say that Jing Yun is really patient. He didn't even use his status as a bargaining chip under such circumstances. He's too stupid. He thought that the old man would have a hint of mercy, and that his sincerity could move the old man. Your grandfather is actually quite pitiful. Mama Sheng couldn't help sighing at that. It's funny. He was humiliating Jing Yun just a second ago, and then... It's really ironic how his faction behaves. Chapter 352. Jing Yun wouldn't be feeling much better right now. Mu Qiqi sighed beside them. The old man had humiliated him and embarrassed him so much. How much tolerance did he have to endure to forgive the old man's actions today? Even if Jing Yun was best at tolerance, Mama Sheng turned to look at Mu Qiqi. Mama Sheng tilted her head and looked at Mu Qiqi. This child was becoming more and more mature. She was no longer the little girl she first met. Thinking about their future, Mama Sheng said to Xing Zhao, "Do whatever you want to do. I don't want Mu Qiqi to have to endure such humiliation. I can't explain it to the Shen family." Xing Zhao's gaze was as sharp as an eagle's. Holding Mu Qiqi's hand, he tightened his grip. "Thanks, Mom. Let's go home." Both of them left the Sheng family and returned to Jingting. Right now, Mu Qiqi was only concerned about Xing Minglan and whether she could find Jing Yun. In the end, Mr. and Mrs. Su were venting for their son, and to let everyone know who he was, they proposed a grand banquet to reintroduce him in front of everyone. As for Jing Yun, he was sitting in his car, calming himself. After sitting by the seaside for a long time, he drove home. But when he opened the door, he found Xing Minglan throwing herself at him tearfully. "I thought you didn't want me anymore." Jing Yun took a deep breath in resignation and hugged Xing Minglan. "I would have done it long ago if I could." "Jing Yun, what Grandpa said to hurt you? You wouldn't believe me if I said I didn't mind. I need time." Xing Minglan nodded tearfully, peeking out of Jing Yun's arms and holding his hand tightly. "Grandpa won't interfere with us anymore. He won't interfere in the future either." Jing Yun said nothing, and simply held Xing Minglan in his arms again. It was all thanks to the Su family that they could achieve their goals. That was why Jing Yun felt that he owed Xing Minglan. He promised her but couldn't bring her away, and if not for the Su family, his head would have been separated from his body. It took them a long time to calm down. It was only when Jing Yun received a call from his parents that night. Jing Yun drove Xing Minglan back to the Su family's new manor in Jianchuan. His identity had officially changed now. "Feng, I'm fine." Jing Yun comforted the two elders. "I didn't think that you would come in time. It was your brother who suggested that we help you vent your anger. No matter what, you're home now. No one would dare to bully you from now on." Mama Su explained to Jing Yun before pulling them to sit down. Sui Hong sneered as he looked at the family downstairs. No one bullied them? He was the first to bully Jing Yun. Otherwise, would he have let Jing Yun recall the past and expose him in front of his parents? At that thought, Sui Hong went downstairs and told Jing Yun, "Third brother, you don't have to be an assistant to the Sheng family anymore. You should return to the Su family and help your brother with the family business. I don't understand medicine, nor do I understand equipment. You can learn if you don't understand." Sui Hong clapped his hand on Jing Yun's shoulder. "You're so smart and would definitely learn it quickly. Still, you've fallen out with the Sheng family. What do you plan to do, fourth miss? Since you still intend to be with fourth miss, then you can't forget about the necessary etiquette. I'll go to the Sheng family to ask for her hand in marriage in the future," Jing Yun said composedly. "Good." Mama Su nodded. Although she did not like the old man of the Sheng family, she was satisfied with Sheng Minglan as her daughter-in-law. Still, they would have to avoid unnecessary contact with the Sheng family. "Don't leave tonight since you're back." Papa Su urged Jing Yun and Sheng Minglan to stay. "Your brother has prepared a room for you." Jing Yun turned to Sui Hong and thanked him. "Thank you, brother." Be that as it may, there was a hint of wariness. "We're family. No need to be so polite." Sui Hong had changed his strategy and acted like a good brother, but the truth was that he wanted to gain their trust and drive a wedge between Jing Yun and their parents. Was he going to take Jing Yun's life otherwise? Jing Yun glanced at Sui Hong out of the corner of his eye before holding Sheng Minglan's hand tightly. It was only when they were alone in the room that he had Sheng Minglan sit on the edge of the bed while he knelt on one knee. "I'm useless. I can't rely on myself to take you away from the chairman, and I can't really make him acknowledge me. Jing Yun, you've done enough," Sheng Minglan said, stroking his face. "I know what kind of person grandfather is. That attitude of yours is the greatest affirmation for me. There's still a long way to go. One day, grandfather would sincerely show goodwill to you." Jing Yun had gone through all that and was still burdened with hatred. He should have been resentful after being humiliated by the old man, but he had none. "From now on, I'll be wherever you are. I'll never be separated from you." Jing Yun nodded, and the two of them hugged each other tightly. Although they took such a big detour, at least the two of them could finally be together without any obstacles. "Still, are you really leaving eighth brother to join Su Holdings?" "Yes." Jing Yun nodded. "I want to protect you." On this day, Xing Xiao knew very well that his assistant was really leaving his side. Still, it was not a pressing matter. "You can't bear to lose your assistant?" Mu Qiqi teased Xing Xiao when she saw him reading the documents from Huang Yao's HR department. "You're treating them like a beauty pageant. Is there anyone you like?" "It's just a bunch of good-for-nothings. It's impossible to find someone like Jing Yun, so I'll just make do with one." With that, Xing Xiao picked up his glasses from the bedside table and put them on. It was the first time Mu Qiqi saw Xing Xiao wearing glasses. A good-looking person would naturally look good in everything, and glasses were a plus. "Xiao Xiao, do you think Jing Yun would change when he returns to the Su family?" Sheng Xiao's gaze was sharp as he looked down at Mu Qiqi teasingly. "Why are you so emotional all of a sudden?" "I just feel like I'll lose Jing Yun." Xing Xiao pinched Mu Qiqi's cheek and put down the documents in his hand, patting her butt. "Go to sleep. Aren't you going to observe with your mentor tomorrow?" "Got it." Mu Qiqi lay in Xing Xiao's arms and closed her eyes. "I can't help you with anything. You would definitely feel worse facing the old man than Jing Yun." Xing Xiao said nothing and merely lowered his head to kiss Mu Qiqi's forehead. "You don't know, but you would be the greatest help to me as long as you insist on being yourself. I don't need you to compromise with anyone or anything." Chapter 353. As a matter of fact, Xing Xiao did not just want an assistant. He also wanted someone who could take on the responsibility to manage Huang Yao. His father might have some tricks up his sleeve, but he lacked charisma. Still, only third brother and fifth brother were doing things in the Xing family. The other uncles were doing things on their own, and did not treat Huang Yao as a family matter at all. There was also another reason: they were used to being oppressed by the old man. And what was he thinking? He was looking for his father-in-law, Xin Jianchuan, to prepare a path of retreat for him and his little one. It was late at night and Jianchuan was freezing in the harsh winter. But the old man was sitting stiffly in his study, and did not step out for the entire day. He felt humiliated when he recalled what happened with Jing Yun. Why did Jing Yun have to be a descendant of the Su family? More terrifyingly, he would have to change his attitude and treat Jing Yun politely if he came to the Xing family after what he had done to humiliate him. That was really embarrassing for him. The old man sighed, but soon received a call from the Gu family. who suggested a meeting with the old man to discuss the matter between Xing Xiao and Miss Gu in detail. The old man nodded, feeling that there was no time to waste. Otherwise, Xing Xiao's arrogance would become more and more difficult to suppress. Let's do it this weekend. We'll plan it then. The other party agreed to his suggestion and hung up. Once Miss Gu agreed to marry into the Xing family, the old man would immediately find a reason for her to join the Xing family and familiarize herself with the family. The next day, Mu Qiqi went to school early in the morning. She found her tutor and followed her to the criminal investigation unit. It was said that they had found a corpse with a heavy taste yesterday, and that they would conduct an autopsy today to determine the identity and time of death. Although Mu Qiqi had seen the corpse several times, it was always acceptable. But this time it was said that the corpse had turned into a giant. And the so-called giant meant that the corpse was so badly decomposed that it had expanded, making it look like a giant. Of course, it was so disgusting that its eyeballs were squeezed out of its face. It was so rotten that anyone who saw it wouldn't stop vomiting. Even Mu Qiqi, who was usually calm, threw up by the pool when she saw it. The few senior brothers had vomited a few times and were comforting each other. Look at you, you're such a good wife of a rich family. Why are you so stubborn and willing to suffer with us? Mu Qiqi perked up, but when she turned to look at the corpse, she vomited again. Seeing this, the tutor finally smiled. Seeing how calm you were previously, I really thought that your mental fortitude was really strong. I didn't expect. It's fine. I'll be fine after vomiting. Mu Qiqi rinsed her mouth and wiped her mouth. Then she continued listening to the forensic analysis. Fortunately, when his gaze was focused on a specific area, it wasn't so uncomfortable. Still, Mu Qiqi did not look too good when she vomited like that. There was no telling how Xing Xiao would feel when he saw that. That morning, Xing Xiao did not arrive at Huangyao on time. He did not bring Mu Qiqi with him and went to the Shens on his own. When Huang Yu saw that, she thought that Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi had a conflict. She quickly went to Grandpa Sheng, but Xing Xiao explained, Xiao Qir has always been the one bullying me. When did I not spoil her? It's hard to say. Huang Yu was not easy to fool. How intelligent was Xing Xiao? Was there anyone in Jianchuan who did not know? Xing Xiao smiled and went to Grandpa Shen's fish pond. However, the old man was not there today. He had gone to visit his comrades and only Xin Jianchuan was there. Looking for Grandpa? For you. Xing Xiao said, leaning against a wooden pillar in the pavilion. I don't think I have any reason to refuse what you suggested before. Are you sure you don't even want your status as the crown prince? Xin Jianchuan asked in return. In fact, he had already guessed that Huang Yao was not a cage that would imprison Xing Xiao given his personality. I just want to give a clean future. Xing Xiao replied, looking at Xin Jianchuan. But I have to prepare first and Huang Yao needs to deal with the aftermath. If your grandfather knows that you want to start your own business with me, do you think he would have a heart attack? Father-in-law, don't be so sarcastic. Xing Xiao was displeased. I have a document with me. Take a look at it. Combining the connections and status the Shen family has accumulated over the years, as well as your expertise, I think this line of work is the most suitable for us. Incidentally, there are 2 military enterprises that are about to close in the suburbs of Jianchuan. Buying them would not be a problem. Xing Xiao was intrigued. Do you want to see my ability to negotiate a partnership? Xin Jianchuan shrugged. Deal with the aftermath well. We can't let the old man hate us. That depends on him. Xing Zhao's meaning was self-evident. If the old man showed restraint, he would do his best to bring Huang Yao to new heights before handing it over to the Sheng family. But if the old man became even worse, not even the gods could hold back. Don't let Xiaoqi know about this for now. She has a soft heart, and would easily feel guilty towards the old man. I will arrange everything properly. Xin Jianchuan certainly had no reason to doubt Xing Zhao's ability. With the two of them together, there would be another storm. Xing Xiao planned to take care of both sides, and naturally would not let anyone know that he and Xin Jianchuan were up to something else. He knew all too well that Qir would have more and more freedom as he climbed higher and higher. In the end, the two men were only doing it to protect the person most important to them. In the afternoon at the Su residence. While Xing Minglan was napping in her room, Mama Su called Jing Yun to a corner and told him, since you're living with Minglan, you should settle things as soon as possible so that outsiders wouldn't gossip. You should settle things with Minglan now that your identity has been revealed, but before that, you have to go to the Sheng family to propose marriage. I know, Mother. I'll prepare a gift for you. Bring more people with you when the time comes, and don't lose face as the young master of the Su family. Mama Su was actually afraid that Jing Yun would be bullied by the Sheng family again. Incidentally, I have some matters to settle with the Sheng family. Don't go overboard for Minglan's sake. Just know your limits. Jing Yun nodded. At the very least, he had to go to Jing Ting and hand over everything. Chapter 354. Mu Qiqi's complexion was terrible when she reached home. Her stomach had been emptied, so how could she be spirited? She had thought that her complexion would improve if she rested while Xing Xiao was not home. But how could she have known that Xing Xiao did not go to Huangyao today? Sheng Zhao's face fell when he saw Mu Qiqi's pale little face. Come here. No, I really stink today more than ever before. Mu Qiqi refused and hugged herself. I'm going to take a shower. The perfume specially made for you has been delivered to the house. It's in the bathroom, but come here first. Xing Xiao called out to her patiently. Helpless, Mu Qiqi could only walk to Xing Xiao and sit beside him. Xing Xiao pulled her into his arms, cupped her face and studied it carefully. Vomiting? Yeah. Mu Qiqi nodded and suddenly went limp in Xing Xiao's arms. It's disgusting. It's a male corpse today and it's been more than 20 days since he died. The degree of decomposition is already colossal. Little one. Xing Xiao's heart ached. He knew what a forensic doctor's job was and what they had to face. Such vomiting was a common occurrence, and there was no telling how long it would take for the little one to really adapt. Could it be that he would have to see her vomiting so pale every day? Xing Xiao hugged his little one for a while before patting her head. Go take a shower. I'll have Aunt Wu make you something good for your stomach. But, there should be a smell on your body. Xing Xiao did not allow her to argue, and simply put down the documents and picked Mu Qiqi up. Both of them went to the bathroom and soaked in the water. Fortunately, the specially made perfume made Mu Qiqi feel much better. What good stuff. Wouldn't it be great if forensic doctors could enjoy it? You ungrateful little one. Do you know how expensive one bottle is? Xing Xiao could not help poking her nose. The happiness of the rich is truly unimaginable. Mu Qiqi sighed as she lay in the water. Since Mu Qiqi's stomach was empty, Xing Xiao did not let her keep soaking in the water, and simply wrapped her up in a towel before carrying her to the bed. Why didn't you go to Huangyao today? I'm waiting for Jing Yun to come. He's the young master of the Su family now. There's no need for him to enter Huangyao personally. It sounds a little businesslike. How can there be someone who stays the same? The environment will change and you have to learn to accept it. Hadn't Mu Qiqi accepted enough along the way? Now that she was the granddaughter of the Shen family and Xing Zhao's fiancé, she also had her own responsibilities. She had never really treated herself as a crystal in Xing Zhao's palm that would shatter at the slightest touch. Then there shouldn't be any problems with fourth sister and Jing Yun's marriage. After a while, Aunt Wu told them outside the door, Young master, young madam, special assistant Jing is here. Dry it yourself. It has to be completely dry. Xing Xiao put the hairdryer in Mu Qiqi's hand and changed into a clean set of clothes before heading downstairs. When Jing Yun arrived at Jing Ting, he was carrying a lot of documents. Apart from the ones Xing Xiao had to read, the rest were handled by Jing Yun. Young master, Huang Yao has already suspended me from my duties, so there's no need to go through the formalities. You're still calling me young master? Xing Xiao found the documents amusing. You're a disciple of a noble family now. You don't have to lower yourself. To me, you'll always be my young master. Jing Yun maintained his humble attitude towards Xing Xiao. When are you going to tell me about fourth sister? In 2 days, I'll go to the Sheng family to ask for her hand in marriage. Jing Yun replied. When the time comes, I'll marry Minglan openly. The old man doesn't have time to care about you too, because this outcome isn't too bad for him. Still, you'd better straighten your posture. You're not the one begging him now. Xing Xiao said lazily. I understand. I really shouldn't have sent sixth brother away. Let him open his eyes. At that thought, Xing Xiao suddenly had a mischievous idea. Why don't I send him back? There's no need, young master. You have to keep an eye on your brother. He wouldn't let you stay in the Su family for too long, because you're a ticking time bomb to him. Xing Xiao reminded Jing Yun. I understand. I'm doing everything I can to investigate his relationship with eldest uncle. It would be perfect if I could take off this person's mask during the reunion banquet. Even so, Su Yihong was not that easy to deal with. Alright, put it down and go back to work. You have to start anew after joining Su Holdings, and Huang Yao has nothing to do with you anymore. You and the Sheng family owe each other nothing. After all, the Sheng family had raised Jing Yun for so many years. Moreover, he had contributed much to the Sheng family as well, and this exchange was to lighten the burden in his heart. "Young master, can we still be like before? What do you want to change?" Xing Xiao raised a brow at him. "By the way, treat fourth sister better." Jing Yun nodded and turned to leave Jing Ting. His current status was no longer what it used to be. Still, when he thought of sixth brother, Xing Xiao had someone tactfully spread the news that Jing Yun and Xing Minglan were going to marry each other, even if Jing Yun didn't mind, although he did not tell him Jing Yun's true identity. He even found an excuse to send him back to the country. He just wanted to see how sixth brother would call Jing Yun a dog in front of his face. Meanwhile, when the old man learned that Jing Yun had handed over matters of Huang Yao, he had to accept that Jing Yun was now the young master of the Su family. Soon the weekend came. Since old Xing had an appointment with the Gu family, he left early in the morning with no one knowing his whereabouts. It was naturally best for him to be as discreet as possible. What would happen if Xing Xiao found out? The Gu family sent Miss Gu's mother, and they met in a private room of a hotel. Sharing a glance, they knew that they were on the same wavelength. Old Xing spoke first. "Madame Gu, you must be aware of my eighth brother's current situation. It's unbecoming of him to be obsessed with a teenage girl." "Who in Jianchuan doesn't know that?" Mama Gu nodded, indicating that she understood what the old man was thinking. "That's why we were really surprised when you came to us. To tell you the truth, my Xiling has the same problem. She used to like a poor brat, and for the sake of this man she almost died. A few days ago the two of them finally broke up, so I brought up the matter with Xiling. I never thought that she would actually agree. After all, how many young ladies in Jianchuan could resist the crown prince's charm?" Chapter 355. It's not that we don't want to, we just have to wait for the right time. That said, I do hope that Miss Gu could join the Xing family as soon as possible and learn how to manage the family. Old Xing told Mama Gu politely. As long as old Mr. Sheng could pave the way for Xiling soon, I would do my best to persuade you. That's settled then. The two agreed. As for what old Xing would come up with to separate Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi, the Gu family would wait and see. Sixth brother had gone all the way to Africa. When he learned that Jing Yun and Xing Minglan were about to get married, he was left fuming. The young lady of the Sheng family, the great fourth miss, was actually marrying a penniless wretch. He really wanted to know what spell Jing Yun had cast on the old man that he would agree to the marriage even though the old man had always valued sectarianism. That was why he really could not hold back even if Xing Xiao forbade him from going home. Had his grandfather gone mad? No one had told sixth brother Jing Yun's identity, and no one in Jianchuan was aware that Jing Yun was the third young master of the Su family. Still, when he saw that he had immediately booked a flight home and remembered his pitiful sister who had been chased out of the family, why did eighth brother and his dog get to have their wishes fulfilled? Was he not convinced? Meanwhile, Jing Yun's plan to propose marriage to the Xing family had been settled. Still, he had not thought about how he should behave when he met old Sheng. Meanwhile, the old man was utterly reluctant when he learned that Jing Yun was going to the Xing family, even if he was not against the marriage between Jing Yun and fourth sister. Even so, he had to make the necessary arrangements. On the night of the next day, the old man had the Xing family return for a banquet. Soon Jing Yun arrived with gifts, but he did not come alone this time. He had brought 4 bodyguards, and that was not counting the attendants who had helped him with the gifts. As expected, a person would become completely different once he gained power. Even the way you looked at him would change. Jing Yun is really different now that he's the young master of the Su family. That's right. The 4 bodyguards are clearly stopping the Sheng family from insulting him again. I've seen the gifts too. They're all very valuable. As the Sheng family discussed in private, the old man turned to Jing Yun. Jing Yun was still the same old Jing Yun, cold and aloof. Jing Yun, why didn't you tell us who you were earlier? In this way the incident on that day would not have happened. It doesn't matter if I'm a member of the Su family or not. I sincerely want to marry Minglan. Jing Yun answered the old man. He had never sat at the guest seat in the Sheng family for so many years. But that's not the same. The old man told Jing Yun honestly. You have to understand how much effort I put in as a grandfather. Minglan is a fine young lady. If I let her marry a bad man, how could I face her parents? So, am I worthy of Minglan now? Jing Yun asked old Xing in return. That's for sure. The old man replied. Since you've come to propose today, we'll let bygones be bygones. Since you've come, it means that you're determined to marry Minglan. With that being the case, let's sit down and talk about the date of your wedding. But before that, I hope that everyone in Jianchuan knows about you, the young master of the Su family. Jing Yun hated every word that came out of the old man's mouth. Reputation, profit. Those were all the old man cared about and never cared if Minglan was living well. That was why he had to come today. He would free Minglan from the abyss of misery that was the Sheng family. Eighth brother doesn't seem to be here tonight. The old man looked around but did not see either of them. He has always thought of you as a brother. Why isn't he here on such an important day? And why isn't Minglan home when we're clearly talking about your wedding? Jing Yun thought about it for a moment before answering the old man. Because she said that she doesn't want to come back. She's more at home with the Su family. How can you talk to your father like that, Jing Yun? Fourth uncle retorted coldly. Those are Minglan's words. Fourth sister hasn't married into the Su family yet. But in my heart she's already my wife. Jing Yun was neither servile nor overbearing. He no longer had the dejection of an assistant of the Sheng family, and now had a new identity. Fourth Uncle Sheng was left speechless. That was when Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi appeared before the crowd. Sorry we're late. Since you're back, let's talk about fourth sister and Jing Yun's wedding. The old man told Xing Xiao. Of course Mu Qiqi had no place in his eyes at all. I'm only concerned about how much dowry you've prepared for fourth sister. Xing Xiao raised a brow. That was when sixth brother rushed back to the Xing family's residence, only to find Jing Yun in the living room. Dropping his luggage, he went up and grabbed Jing Yun's collar, only to be thrown over his shoulder by Jing Yun's bodyguard, who landed heavily on the ground. Sixth brother rose to his feet in pain and pointed at Jing Yun's nose, barking, "You pathetic dog! How dare you sit here? Don't tell me you really want something to happen with fourth sister? I'm telling you that's impossible. This is the Sheng family." Shut up, sixth brother. The old man was furious. He had been avoiding an awkward situation all night, but he did not expect that sixth brother's return would catch him off guard. Grandfather, what kind of magic potion did eighth brother feed you? Sixth young master, he's innocent. I won't hold a grudge against him. Jing Yun said magnanimously then. But the tone of his voice was clearly sharp. That was when sixth brother laughed. Who do you think you are? Those who don't know are innocent? What a joke. Sixth brother, that's the third young master of the Su family. Don't you be rude. The old man couldn't hold back any longer and told sixth brother the truth. Jing Yun is no longer the Jing Yun you used to be. Don't embarrass me. At that, sixth brother pointed at Jing Yun and laughed. Don't tell me he's impersonating you to get your approval? Look at him, grandfather. How does he look like a young master of a rich family? Xing Xiao said nothing in response and simply looked at Jing Yun. Chapter 356. Sixth brother apologized to Jing Yun. The old man instructed. Grandfather, I told you to apologize. You already know who he is and yet you're still causing trouble. Don't the Su family know how to verify his identity? The Su family has already verified Jing Yun's identity, so stop causing trouble for the Sheng family. Sixth brother was promptly stunned at the old man's words, a look of disbelief on his face. He's actually the son of a rich family. He's really become a phoenix. Apologized to Jing Yun. Sixth brother was utterly indignant, but still walked up to Jing Yun and said, I was being rude just now. I hope you won't hold it against me, young Master Su. Jing Yun rose from his chair, picked up the teacup beside him and poured tea over sixth brother's head right in front of the Sheng family. Now we're even. Jing Yun, don't be so condescending now that you're in power. Sixth brother was furious. If it wasn't for Minglan, I would have turned you into a dog and barked in front of me instead of just a cup of tea. Mu Qiqi looked at Jing Yun, and then at Xing Xiao beside her. As the saying goes, one is marked by the company one keeps. Jing Yun was really the same as her, having inherited Xing Xiao's disdain for everyone around him. Alright, it's a good day today. Jing Yun, you're here to propose marriage, so it's best not to strain your relationship with the Sheng family. After all, this is fourth sister's maiden home. However, it was not just Jing Yun. Even Xing Minglan herself had never considered the Sheng family as a maternal family she could rely on. To put it bluntly, Jing Yun was simply informing the old man that he was marrying Xing Minglan. If the Su family was happy, they would simply invite the old man over for a drink. If they were unhappy, they would simply settle the matter, leaving the Xing family with no drama to play. After being humiliated, sixth brother turned to glare at Xing Xiao resentfully. After all, he was convinced that Xing Xiao must have given him the wrong information to lure him back, so that he could avenge Jing Yun right in front of him. After all, he had always called out to Jing Yun as a dog. The Su family's reunion banquet is in a few days. I'm planning to announce my relationship with Minglan there too. That's for the best. If the people of Jianchuan didn't know about Jing Yun's identity, he couldn't afford to lose face and spread rumors that his granddaughter was having an affair with a servant. When the time comes, I hope that all of you will come. That night, the old man learned how different Jing Yun was after becoming a member of the Su family. That was why he liked power so much. It was because only those with power had the right to speak. Just look at Jing Yun now. Wasn't he just a matter of opening his mouth if he wanted something? There was no need to be as desperate as before. Soon Jing Yun left with his bodyguards, and that was when sixth brother pointed at Xing Xiao. It's you. You deliberately spread the news to me and lured me here. You're the one who doesn't have a brain. Why are you blaming me? Xing Xiao smiled in return. There's a saying that goes, every dog has its day. You used to look down on Jing Yun and his background, but from now on, you'll suffer as long as he tries to get back at you. You probably never thought that this day would come when you called him a dog. You. There was hatred in sixth brother's eyes. What he hated most was being treated like a puppet by Xing Xiao and manipulated as he pleased. Let's go home, Chi'er. Holding Mu Qiqi's hand, Xing Xiao followed Jing Yun out of the Xing residence. At this time, the old man looked at the backs of the two people as they left. He had a meaningful look on his face. The Gu family had agreed to it, and Miss Gu had given her consent. After Xing Minglan's matter was settled, it would be Xing Zhao's turn anyway. He was still thinking that he could bring Miss Gu to the Xing family on his birthday, and when that time comes Mu Qiqi would have to give way to Miss Gu. But Mu Qiqi wasn't the kind of person who would give way. She still wanted to hold the title of Xing Zhao's woman for life. Don't bother with Xing Xiao and that Mu Qiqi now. You won't be around for long. Old Xing told sixth brother. Sixth brother wasn't smart, but he caught the meaning in the old man's words. Grandfather, you're saying, don't be so flustered. It's only a matter of time. Sixth brother cleared the tea leaves off his head and only then did he feel better. Xing Xiao, Mu Qiqi. Let's see how long you can keep being arrogant. Soon Jing Yun returned to the Su residence, where Xing Minglan and Mama Su were waiting for him in the living room. Did everything go well? Reasonably speaking, your father and I should show up, but I don't want to give that old man so much face. Don't worry. Everything went well. Jing Yun replied. Go upstairs with Minglan and get some rest. Mama Su urged them. Still, you have to be careful. Even if it's nothing new to get married with a child, you have to consider your father's face and restrain yourself before the wedding. Xing Minglan blushed at those words. Jing Yun held Xing Minglan's hand and led her to their bedroom. You don't have to go back as long as you don't have to interact with the Xing family. Xing Minglan reached out and hugged Jing Yun, nodding in his arms. You're holding back for me, aren't you? I'm not like young master in the first place. I can't do such a flashy vengeance, and as long as the Xing family doesn't make things difficult for me, I won't target them since I owe them a debt. We'll start all over from now on. They hugged each other resolutely, but Jing Yun kept Mama Su's words in mind. He wanted to give Xing Minglan a wedding like no other, and she wouldn't look good in a wedding dress if she was pregnant. I'll marry you soon. Mu Qiqi never imagined that there would be a day when Jing Yun would treat someone like that, pouring tea over sixth brother's head. Even now, when he recalled that scene, he would still feel extremely satisfied. Did I tell you to stay in bed after your bath so you could laugh? Xing Xiao returned to the bedroom with a towel wrapped around his waist, promptly pinching Mu Qiqi's nose when he saw her smile. Mu Qiqi pulled off his towel and squeezed herself into his arms. I was laughing at Grandpa's compromising look. Xing Xiao wrapped his arms around her, only to find that his little one wasn't wearing pajamas either. Hence, he lifted her chin and asked, What are you doing? Mu Qiqi's eyes sparkled with extreme infatuation as she looked at Xing Xiao. What do you think? I want you to tell me. Chapter 357. Old Xing was wary of the Su family's background, which was why he agreed to Jing Yun and Xing Minglan's marriage. Still, he did not specifically bother Xing Xiao or Mu Qiqi, which left Xing Xiao puzzled. With the old man's volatile temper, the first person he would deal with after Xing Minglan's matter would be Xing Zhao's Chi'er. Even so, the old man had not made a move until now, which was rather unusual. Xing Xiao had Mama Xing pay special attention to the old man's movements, but aside from the few times he left the house without letting his family know, there was really nothing out of the ordinary. His birthday was in March and Xing Xiao would definitely be on his guard. Of course, no one knew that the great crown prince of Huangyao was already preparing to shift his focus to do something great with his father-in-law. Be that as long as the old man did not go overboard, he would not tell anyone about it. But if the old man really did something else to Mu Chichi, there was nothing he could do. Meanwhile, the Su couple had asked Su Yihong to arrange an appropriate position for Jing Yun in Su Holdings. Su Yihong agreed to help his younger brother as well, and let Jing Yun know what aspects Su Holdings was involved in as soon as possible. That was a breakthrough point for Su Yihong against Jing Yun. Since your identity is still unknown, I can't put you in a position that's too obvious. I could only have you work at the grassroots level and get a general idea of Su Holdings. You've thought it through, brother, Jing Yun said to Su Yihong discreetly. At the end of the day, Su Yihong was just using this method to provoke Jing Yun. The young master of the Su family was actually being assigned to the most basic of positions. It would be a humiliation for anyone, and he wanted Jing Yun to complain to the Su couple. That way he could easily incite conflict between Jing Yun and his parents. But he was wrong. First, Jing Yun knew that he was the mastermind behind his abandonment, which was why he knew that the old man would deliberately set a trap for him. Second, Jing Yun was not an impetuous person. Moreover, he believed that he should be in contact with the lowest levels of Su Holdings. Everything should be learned from the basics, which was why he did not find it humiliating. After all, the people of Jianchuan recognized his ability and knew that he was not a good-for-nothing. Therefore, Su Yihong's move was, in truth, nothing more than shooting himself in the foot in the end. Even so, he had to hurry up and investigate the connection between Su Yihong and the eldest uncle of the Su family. At this time, Lin Mu had just returned to school and was about to face the holidays again. However, he did not want to go back to the Lin family. That was why he called Lu Qianqian on the first night of the holidays. I'm on vacation, little pepper. You have no sympathy at all. You know I ran away from home, and yet you leave me to fend for myself. What else? Lu Qianqian changed her clothes while talking to Lin Mu, and on the phone. I don't believe that you really have nowhere to go. I used to have a lot of friends, but they are all fair-weather friends. I'm afraid they won't agree to stay with me now, Lin Mu replied. Who told you to lose power? Lu Qianqian wanted to bite him through the phone. You have a month's holiday, right? And are you really not going back to the Lin family for the new year? I don't want to. Lin Mu answered Lu Qianqian very firmly. If I go back to the Lin family, Grandpa will come up with all kinds of traps and tricks to stop me from going back to the police academy. I don't want to take the risk anymore. If that's the case, I'll reluctantly accept you. Lu Qianqian pretended to sigh. You can be my bodyguard for this month. I'm lacking a sparring partner and a punching bag anyway. Then where should I stay? Your little boudoir? The storeroom suits you quite well. What do you think? Lu Qianqian drove Lin Mu to the police academy gates, and they left together. Meanwhile, Grandpa Lin's hands trembled uncontrollably as he watched his grandson being taken away by Lu Qianqian. Those two are still in contact after all. Since that animal wants to suffer, I'll fulfill his wish. Lin Mu kept feeling a cold breeze blowing at him from behind, and wondered if he was being overly suspicious. To tell the truth, I just need a simple place to stay. It's about the same as the police academy. I'll gladly endure it. Tisk tsk. A young master of the Lin family is actually freeloading off a woman like me. Didn't I say that I'll be your bodyguard? Lin Mu's training these days had yielded great results. When I graduate from the police academy, you'll be the biggest contributor. Lu Qianqian smiled mockingly at Lin Mu. Then I'll have to trouble you, young Master Lin. In fact, Lu Qianqian had prepared a small apartment for Lin Mu. It was a very simple apartment. The two walked around the small apartment and then sat in the living room to drink just like the last time at the hotel. As expected, you're my best friend? Lu Qianqian looked at Lin Mu. He had become sturdier and his figure had become better. He looked much more manly now. Then how are you going to introduce me to a girlfriend you like in the future? Lu Qianqian asked Lin Mu, holding a bottle of wine. Lin Mu put his arm around Lu Qianqian's neck and said half drunk, I'll break up with anyone who doesn't accept you as my best friend. Lu Qianqian's heart skipped a beat at that. Not many women would accept their boyfriend to have a female confidant. So what? I like it. Lin Mu's alcohol tolerance was actually very good, but he was outclassed by Lu Qianqian, who had cultivated herself. So when Lin Mu collapsed on the floor, Lu Qianqian was still very sober. Watching Lin Mu's sleeping face, Lu Qianqian leaned over the table and whispered, Me too. If anyone dares to say anything about your existence, I'll tell them to get lost. With that, she picked up a blanket from the bed and put it over Lin Mu. Good night, future Officer Lin. Little Pepper. Lin Mu smiled in his sleep. I'll protect you for the rest of my life. I'll protect my best friend. Idiot. Lu Qianshan scolded him with a smile and returned home late at night. Because she didn't want to be caught and humiliated by old Master Lin once more, when she got home, Mama Lu smelled alcohol on her and advised her, Qianshan, don't give up on yourself because of what happened in the past. What are you thinking, Mom? I'm drinking with Lin Muhan. Lu Qianshan quickly explained. He's left the Lin family and doesn't even have a place to stay. I can't just stand by as he and I are friends and I've taken him in as my bodyguard. Really just friends? Mama Lu confirmed with Lu Qianshan. Chapter 358. Old Xing wanted Mu Qiqi to give up her position to Miss Gu, but he had to mend his relationship with Mu Qiqi and eighth brother before that, or he wouldn't have the chance to get close to Mu Qiqi at all. After all, he knew very well that the harder he treated eighth brother, the more Xing Xiao would retaliate. Of course he couldn't be friendly to them for no reason. Given how smart eighth brother was, wouldn't that be telling him that he had something to gain from it? He had to set it up meticulously to avoid Xing Xiao's suspicion. Mending their relationship could be done at the same time as contacting Miss Gu. Meanwhile, Xing Xiao had transferred second brother back from abroad to groom the person in charge of Huang Yao. His excuse was that Jing Yun had returned to the Su family, and he needed someone capable to share the burden. Second brother had always been convinced of Xing Xiao's ability, and had been diligent and never slacking off over the years. Since Xing Xiao had summoned him this time, he naturally had to find someone abroad to handle the handover. And in Xing Xiao's mind, second brother had more than enough talent, but he wasn't ruthless enough. Still, that wasn't a problem. At the very least, he was 100 times better than a good-for-nothing like sixth brother. Old Xing didn't notice anything amiss with Xing Xiao's excuse. He was naturally happy that another grandson was coming home, but he would never know that Xing Xiao was smarter than he imagined and more meticulous as well. Wouldn't the few times he went out without telling the Sheng family that he was meeting people attract suspicion? The old man simply believed that he was in control of the situation. In the evening, Mu Qiqi had dinner with Xing Xiao, and the two of them sat in the study, each busy with their own matters. Watching Mu Qiqi's back as she wrote her report, Xing Xiao suddenly smiled and reached out to pull her into his arms. I'm going to the airport tomorrow to meet second brother of the Sheng family. Mu Qiqi could tell from Xing Xiao's expression that second brother wasn't a bad person since he was going to the airport. Jing Yun's gone. Did you ask him to come back and help you? Xing Xiao hummed softly in acknowledgement. He had not revealed anything to Mu Qiqi until now. Mu Qiqi studied Xing Xiao carefully and smiled slyly. Are you hiding something from me? When Xing Xiao heard that, he suddenly became playful. How did you know that? Who can tell what you're thinking? Mu Qiqi snorted. I just have this intuition. If you can't see anything, go take a shower. Xing Xiao patted her head. I'll take you to see your aunt tomorrow. All right. Xing Xiao's smile deepened as he watched Mu Qiqi get up. He wanted to protect the little one's ever-happy smile the most. He did not want her to change her quirky personality just because she had to face the Sheng family. She had promised Shen Jianchuan that she would make Mu Qiqi happy in the Sheng family. But now he was afraid that this wish could not be realized. The strength he used on the old man could totally be used to rebuild an empire. Since that was the case, why fight that tough battle again? After Mu Qiqi went upstairs, Xing Xiao put down the documents in his hand and called his father-in-law. I've read the resumes of these people. That Su Che meets my requirements. You're quite picky. Su Che was a retired Special Forces soldier. Shen Jianchuan smiled. Still, being your assistant doesn't require extraordinary abilities. All right, I'll arrange for you to meet him later. But aren't you going to tell Mu Qiqi? She would know when the time is right. Since it is a military enterprise, it is not like Huang Yao, which needs to understand management and diamonds. He chose Su Che because Su Che knows a lot of weapons which ordinary assistants can't catch up to. Moreover, if there is an emergency, Su Che can protect himself and Qi. Good boy. Good. He'll report to you in 2 days. As a matter of fact, the person Xing Xiao should be communicating with the most was his mother. However, he knew that Mama Xing would definitely be suspicious of his arrangements, which was why he did not have to tell her. The next day, the couple went to the airport to pick up Xing Xiao. When Mu Qiqi saw second brother, she immediately understood why Xing Xiao would think of him as an elder brother. Since they were cousins, they certainly shared some similarities. On the other hand, this brother of his had clear eyes and was frank with others, which suited Xing Xiao's taste at first glance. You must be the youngest sister-in-law, Mu Qiqi? Second brother extended a hand to Mu Qiqi. Your name really rings like thunder. Mu Chichi shook his hand and smiled. You're flattering me. I'm really sorry that I didn't even come when you got engaged. Still, so many things have happened at home while I was abroad. It feels like a lifetime has passed, especially Jing Yun's matter. You're probably not used to it without him, are you? What do you think? Xing Xiao lifted a brow at second brother. Then I'll come back and take over Jing Yun's job as your assistant. No? I have other arrangements for my assistant. You're more suited for another position. Xing Xiao said mysteriously. Second brother appeared puzzled. Although he had always been impressed by eighth brother's intelligence, he was afraid that he could not have the rapport with Xing Xiao like Jing Yun did with someone smart. Both brothers were dressed in black tailored suits and had tall and slender figures. Still, Xing Xiao exuded a dangerous aura from inside out. The old man was very happy as well, and prepared a sumptuous dinner to welcome his grandson back home. That night, the old man ignored Mu Chichi's existence and focused on enjoying family time with his grandson. Of course, the fact that he did not bother Mu Chichi was already the greatest gift to her. But Mu Chichi did not know that it was the beginning of the old man's change in attitude towards her. After dinner, Mama Xing winked at Xing Xiao, and the two of them went to the Xing family's golf course. Eighth brother, you called your second brother back and want to recommend him to be the vice president. Do you have other plans? No one knows a son better than a mother. Xing Xiao smiled at Mama Xing. Mom, did you know that the old man had been meeting some mysterious people behind the Xing family's back recently? What does he mean? You'll have to ask him about that. Xing Xiao answered meaningfully. I have to leave a path of retreat for you and Qi. Don't say anything in the Xing family, Qi doesn't know about it either. You're keeping it from Xiao Qi. Chapter 359. Then what do you need me to do? Xing Xiao turned to look at his mother. You don't have to do anything. Just be like before. But Mom, you have to make a choice. Stay with the Xing family or leave. Mama Xing took a deep breath and nodded. I'll think about it. Mu Chichi could not help frowning when she saw them return from the golf course. Are you whispering to Mom? What? Are you jealous? Xing Xiao asked in return. Is there anything I can't know? Although Mu Chichi knew that Xing Xiao had many secrets in his heart, it was the first time he avoided her like that. The little one is getting harder to manage, she's getting more scheming too. I'll tell you in the future, but I have to keep it a secret for now. Xing Xiao said, hugging her and bidding farewell to the rest of the Xing family before leaving with Mu Chichi. Since Xing Xiao had explained it, Mu Chichi did not have to mind. All she wanted was an attitude from him. On the other hand, the old man finally had a good impression of Xing Xiao because he was willing to help his brother. That was because he never imagined that Xing Xiao would have the idea of independence, and believed that the crown prince would take over Huangyao no matter what. But he simply did not know that Huangyao held no weight in Xing Xiao's heart. 2 days later, the young man named Su Che reported to Jing Ting. Mu Chichi asked Xing Xiao in confusion when she saw how young and strong he was. Don't I have a bodyguard? This is my new assistant. Xing Xiao told Mu Chichi. Su Che. Chief Sheng, young madam. Su Che bowed to them like a soldier. How old is this kid? You've been hired as an assistant. Mu Chichi could not be blamed for being puzzled. Su Che was born with a baby face and was very popular in the army because of his fair and tender face. Su Che, tell your young madam how old you are. Xing Xiao could not help sneering. I'm 23. Su Che quickly answered. Damn, I thought you were only 18. Without realizing it, Mu Chichi gave Su Che a thumbs up. You guys talk. I'm going upstairs to freshen up. Even then, Mu Chichi did not find it strange. After all, Jing Yun often came to Jing Ting, but she did not know that the difference between Su Che and Jing Yun was that Su Che would never appear in Huangyao, because Su Che was on Xing Xiao and Xin Jianchuan's side. Moreover, he would only help Xing Xiao with matters on that side. Su Che, although you're my assistant, Xiao Qi'er comes first in everything. As long as it involves her, you have to put her first. Secondly, you don't have to answer Xiao Qi'er's questions now. I will tell her in the future. I understand, Chief Sheng. Xing Xiao trusted a soldier's strict style. After all, he had learned about Su Che's performance in the army. Since that's the case, you should be more careful in the future. In public, try to pretend that you don't know me. This was naturally a piece of cake for a soldier. Xing Xiao was very satisfied with Su Che. After all, he was someone his father-in-law had selected. Of course, he was better than those good-for-nothings outside. Meanwhile, at the Su residence, Su Yihong had assigned Jing Yun to the Su family's purchasing department. According to him, he wanted Jing Yun to quickly familiarize himself with what the Su family did for a living, and how they got their stuff. He wouldn't let Jing Yun go to the sales department or the Su family's R&D department, leaving Jing Yun hanging in suspense. Moreover, the people in the purchasing department were not aware of Jing Yun's identity, and were very curious about this employee who had been dropped in out of nowhere. Seeing that Su Yihong had arranged for Jing Yun, Mr. and Mrs. Su asked him while Jing Yun was not home, "What are you thinking?" "Mom, I want third brother to try out every department. That way you would be able to see if he's capable, and it would be the fastest way for him to familiarize himself with Su Holdings. There are many ways to familiarize himself with Su Holdings, and we have enough specialists. Moreover, he had been with the Crown Prince of Huangyao for so long. Why are you still doubting his ability?" "Mom, trust me. I can take care of my brother." Mama Su was about to say something else, but Papa Su stopped her. "Yihong is right. Let Feng try." The truth was that he did not want Su Yihong to think that he had neglected his eldest son's feelings after finding Jing Yun. And since Su Yihong had chosen to do so, he was naturally confident that his parents would agree. As for whether Jing Yun would feel wronged, it was none of his business. Jing Yun knew what Su Yihong was thinking. Moreover, Su Yihong had clearly instructed the people in the purchasing department to give him a hard time. Was he trying to test his patience? Did he not know how easy it was for the purchasing department to make mistakes? Xing Minglan, on the other hand, was working at her own company as usual. Still, Jing Yun did not tell her about it, or she would never let it go. Still, what kind of people had he not seen after working for Xing Xiao for so many years? That was why he installed an invisible camera on his computer on the second day he joined the purchasing department. Naturally, he wanted to know who was human and who was a ghost. Still, the purchasing department was unaware that Su Yihong had personally given the order to suppress Jing Yun. They simply listened to the orders from above, and Jing Yun would naturally not blame Su Yihong when the time came. Hence, someone came to test the clarity of the camera just after it was installed. Seizing the opportunity when Jing Yun was not around, he splashed a cup of water on the purchasing list his supervisor had just given him. It was a manuscript, and Jing Yun was supposed to check it against the list on the computer, but now the manuscript was soaked in water. Jing Yun laughed coldly when he saw it from his phone in the pantry before returning to his post. At the moment, his colleagues looked as if they did not know what was going on. Even so, Jing Yun was not used to their habit, and promptly put the soaked manuscript in front of the culprit. "I believe you have a responsibility. Help me restore the information on the manuscript." The man's face dropped in shock. "I don't know what you're talking about." Everyone else looked as if they were watching a good show. "You don't have to know what I'm talking about, but I remember the look on your face when you knocked over my cup." Jing Yun replied calmly. The man was stunned and blushed in embarrassment. Don't slander me. I never slander anyone, but I'm not one to hold back. Restore my information, or I won't be the only one to admire your face." The man promptly lowered his head at that, avoiding the question. "Got it?" Everyone looked at Jing Yun's face. Was he a pushover? Such a straightforward counterattack. Chapter 360. As a matter of fact, Jing Yun had a habit of making backups, since he would always take photos of things like manuscripts. After working for Xing Xiao for so long, would he be interested in such petty tricks? It was no different from scratching an itch and not stirring any desire to win. Still, he did not tell that person that he had the information because he wanted that person to know the consequences of provoking him. Everyone in the office fell silent at that. That was clearly a tough nut to crack, and yet someone was so reckless as to run into it. Still, there was more to come. Once Jing Yun's identity was revealed, everyone in the office would probably scram out of fear of retribution. Jing Yun was still Jing Yun. No matter how smart Su Yihong was, he would have to admit defeat against someone trained by Xing Xiao. Naturally, Jing Yun had his men investigate the matter between Su Yihong and the eldest uncle of the Su family. He believed that his ability was not in the purchasing department anyway. That very night, Jing Yun received a call. That was why he brought Xing Minglan to Jing Ting. "Why are you coming to me now that you're the third young master of the Su family?" Xing Xiao frowned in displeasure. Knowing that he was not really disgusted, Xing Minglan retorted, "Am I not your fourth sister even if Jing Yun isn't your assistant? What's new? I've sent people to investigate around the eldest uncle of the Su family, and found out about an old incident." Jing Yun told Xing Xiao. He still saw Xing Xiao as his young master, and the way they spoke was the same as before. "Speak." Xing Xiao hugged Mu Qiqi and leaned lazily on the sofa. "Big uncle once had two lovers outside. One of them was discovered by Big Aunt, and she cried and made a scene. After that, she died. As for the other one, Big Uncle hid it very well. It is said that the two of them even gave birth to a son. What's the connection? The connection is that the child was born in the same hospital as eldest brothers, and the child was born before eldest brother by a few days. No one in the Su family knows about it. What about the child? Sheng Xiao had already figured out the crux of the matter. He died when he was 2, and eldest uncle gave the woman a sum of money. They were even after that, and the woman left the country. How could you find out about such a thing? Sheng Xiao pointed at Jing Yun. It sounded like he was mocking him, but his actual words were, "Well done." It took some effort, Jing Yun admitted. What else is there to say? Go and do a DNA test with your brother and your parents. In fact, Jing Yun had already guessed that Sui Hong had a motive for what happened all those years ago. But even so, we didn't find any evidence that he abandoned me. Let's set up a trap. Sheng Xiao narrowed his eyes and instructed Jing Yun just like before. Your brother isn't letting you have it easy, is he? It's all right. Jing Yun did not admit it in front of Xing Minglan. Of course, Sheng Xiao did not continue. Since things are settled, shouldn't you leave? The little thing and I still need to rest. Mu Qiqi blushed. Xiao Xiao, what are you talking about? Xing Minglan covered her mouth and chuckled. I didn't know you were so impatient. Well, we're going back. Jing Yun held Xing Minglan's hand as they left Jing Ting. He was even more certain of his hunch after hearing Xing Zhao's answer. His father and his eldest uncle had fought over the management rights, and the eldest uncle had every reason to switch the child. Even if his father won and gave the rights to Sui Hong, the outcome would be the same, it would still be given to the eldest uncle. Moreover, no one knew that the mistress had a child at the time, and his real brother had died. That was the best cover for Sui Hong. I didn't expect the Su family to have so many traps. Xing Minglan sighed on the way back. Still, it's Sui Hong's bad luck to run into you and eighth brother. Anyone else would have fallen into Sui Hong's trap over and over again. Young master's intellect is peerless. Brains are useful, but not everyone can control them. Who else aside from Mu Qiqi could stand eighth brother? Every carrot has its own pit, and every pot lid has its head. A tortoise goes with. Xing Minglan did not really say the word tortoise, but she chuckled. Since we're going to do a DNA test, leave it to me. I'm not restricted at home since you're all at work. Jing Yun shook his head. No. Why? His room would definitely be guarded. Jing Yun said. How could someone like Sui Hong not know that there were surveillance cameras in his office if even he knew about it? I've always wondered why he didn't marry before, but I understand now. He would have a higher chance of being exposed if he had married early, and there would be no way to deal with his wife and children. That's why he might as well not marry and find a stable partner, and only marry and have children when he has real power. That would be perfect. What do you plan to do then? There would be times when he would be careless if they lived together. That would depend on observation. All right then. Xing Minglan gave up on the idea of going to Sui Hong's room. After all, Sui Hong would definitely be prepared when Mama Su went to get the fake's DNA. Meanwhile, over at Jing Ting, Mu Qiqi was still nestled in Xing Zhao's arms after Jing Yun and Xing Minglan left, sighing. I'm relieved that Jing Yun is no different from before. What do you think he would become? Snobbish, greedy and greedy? Mu Qiqi pointed with her fingers as an example. You have many friends but not many of them are brothers. I don't want you to lose a brother. You're thinking too much. Xing Xiao couldn't help chuckling. Jing Yun would never change. He would never change. But that makes things even more interesting, don't you think? Xing Xiao promptly picked Mu Qiqi up from the sofa at that. Was that the only thing that had become interesting? It had taken him quite a bit of effort to find out who the old man had met during his mysterious trips. The Gu family. After meeting the Gu family, what happened next? Was he already looking for a replacement for Qi-er? No wonder the old man had not given Qi-er a hard time recently. It turned out that he had other plans. Of course, if the old man really dared to do that, he could not be blamed. After all, this was the world of the young. How could the old man's old ways work? When Jing Yun gets the evidence and exposes Sui Hong, I want to join in the fun. Chapter 361. Then the Gu family came to ask when old Xing would settle things between Xing Xiao and Mu Qiqi, and make room for the young lady of the Gu family. After all, she was the young lady of an aristocratic family. It was impossible for her to meddle in someone else's relationship when Xing Xiao still had a fiancé. How could she explain that to Xing Xiao? Old Sheng had been racking his brains lately, since Xing Xiao was so smart that nothing could be hidden from him. And it was in that moment that sixth brother, who had been searching for his sister for a long time, actually found her. But now Sheng Minghui no longer looked like the daughter of the Sheng family. Sixth brother was heartbroken when he saw her and stormed back to Sheng Mansion telling Grandpa Sheng, "Grandpa, I found seventh sister. But do you know where I found her?" Old Sheng's hands froze at the thought of seventh sister, and he looked up at him. "Hurry up and tell me." "Grandpa." Old Sheng's eyes welled with tears, and he promptly knelt before the old man. Seventh sister shouldn't be chased out of the family no matter how wrong she was. "I found her in a nightclub. She's seriously ill and is now in the hospital. She's humiliated and defiled like this, and it's crushing my heart." The old man's eyes widened at that. "What's wrong with her?" "It's better if you don't know." Sixth brother couldn't help crying. Either way, there's no way she could marry a man with a clean conscience. The old man did a double take and rose to his feet. "Take me to her?" "There's no need, Grandpa. She doesn't even know you now." Sixth brother knelt in front of Grandpa Sheng and grabbed his pants. "Grandpa, I really can't take it lying down after seeing seventh sister like that. Mu Chichi hurt seventh sister like that. Does she still want to marry into the Sheng family? Grandpa, please deal with Mu Chichi. Do you think I have the final say in this matter?" "It's eighth brother." Old Sheng snorted. "If eighth brother wants to protect Mu Chichi, who in the family could touch her?" "Grandpa, has Mu Chichi not brought enough trouble to the Sheng family? Do you really have the heart to let her become the mistress of the Sheng family? Then us brothers will have a hard time. Grandfather, I really suggest that we break off the engagement with the Shen family. If you don't believe me, have everyone in the Shing family visit seventh sister and see if the Shing family can tolerate her." At sixth brother's words, the old man suddenly had a new plan. Using Sheng Minghui's matter as a pretext, he might be able to sever their fiancé nominally. Moreover, the Shen family had no room to refute. As long as the two of them broke off the engagement, things would be much easier. "Tomorrow, ask your parents to visit Old Seven." Old Master Sheng sighed. Finally, after being troubled for so many days, he found a breakthrough. "Try to make the matter as big as possible." "I understand." Sixth brother wiped away his tears and rose to his feet. Whether eighth brother really likes Mu Chichi or not, the Sheng family has no place for her. If eighth brother can't bear it, he should get out of the Sheng family. "No, I just want Mu Chichi to get out." Given how important eighth brother was to Huang Yao, he did not want to suffer a double loss. That was why he had to find an excuse to have Miss Gu join the Sheng family. That way there would be a chance for Xing Xiao and Miss Gu to develop a relationship. That was why the old man was prepared to make things difficult for Mu Chichi. Late at night at the Su family's home. As the reunion banquet was drawing near, the Su couple were checking the guest list in the living room, while Su Yihong was beside them to see if there were any guests they had missed. Soon, Jing Yun led Xing Minglan into the main entrance of the Su family's home. Seeing that everyone else was present, he sat down with Xing Minglan across from her father and brother. "Feng, are you back? How's work?" "Everything's fine, mother," Jing Yun said. After all, after he had punished the troublemaker colleague, the other pretentious scoundrels were much more discreet. At the very least, they would not dare to trouble him openly. "You don't know, mother, but the head of the purchasing department told me that third brother is astonishingly capable." Su Yihong smiled at Mama Su even as he sipped his coffee. "That's good." Mama Su was pleased and kept her head down to check the guest list. Even so, Jing Yun's gaze fell upon Su Yihong's coffee cup. "I think I'm going to transfer third brother to another department soon. Third brother, third sister-in-law, dad, mom. I'm going to rest." With that, Su Yihong took his coffee cup to the kitchen. But he did not wash it. He went straight upstairs after he left the kitchen. Jing Yun shot Xing Minglan a look and said, "Minglan, could you get me a cup of water?" "Wait for me." Xing Minglan understood Jing Yun's meaning, and went into the kitchen to hide the coffee cup Su Yihong used just now, replacing it with a similar one. Then she took some hot water and left the kitchen for Jing Yun. "Stay with mom and dad for a while. I'm going up." "All right." Xing Minglan did not touch the cup because she had covered it with plastic wrap, and carefully took it out when she returned to her room. Soon Jing Yun followed her upstairs as well. His eyes darkened when he saw the cup. "But I haven't gotten your father's yet. Otherwise I could have given it out later. What do I need my father's for?" "Mine will do," Jing Yun told Xing Minglan. "But I need an excuse to leave." "That's easy. Just say that eighth brother called for us." Jing Yun nodded and washed up as usual. But soon he brought Xing Minglan downstairs. "Where are you going?" "Auntie, eighth brother wants us to go to Jingting. We'll be right back." Xing Minglan quickly explained to Mama Su. Mama Su nodded. "Don't be late." Upstairs, Su Yihong watched as the two left, but did not suspect that the coffee cup he used just now had been swapped. He was aware that Jingyun was a schemer, but did not know that Jingyun was trained by Xing Xiao, and he was not just smart on the surface. The two promptly sent the sample to the identification center, and the outcome would be clear once they verified that Jingyun and Su Yihong were biological brothers. The reunion is in a few days and the results would be out. "What do you plan to do then?" Xing Minglan asked Jingyun, although she was actually worried about him. "As long as he doesn't bother me during the reunion, I won't embarrass my parents. We'll talk about it in private," Jingyun replied, looking at Xing Minglan. "Moreover, I have to set up a trap to get evidence that he abandoned me." Chapter 362. When the Sheng family heard that sixth brother had found seventh sister and that she was in the hospital, they all took some time off to visit her. At first, Grandpa Sheng had arranged for the Sheng family to put on a show and stand up against Mu Chichi. But when they saw what happened to seventh sister, they were filled with rage. The young lady of the Sheng family was now tormented to the point that she was neither human nor ghost. She was violated in a nightclub by a man and was now seriously ill. There was no need for an act. Third uncle and third aunt of the Sheng family were directly kneeling before Grandpa Sheng, begging him to stand up for their daughter. Usually the couple did not have the right to care about their child. But this time, with sixth brother's hint, Grandpa Sheng would definitely stand up for Xing Minghui. The woman on the sickbed was thin and weak. Moreover, she was not in her right mind. No one could imagine how much she had been through. And with that thought, everyone's hatred for Mu Chichi deepened. "Father, seventh sister has become like this, you have to stand up for us." Grandpa Sheng clasped his hands behind his back, his heart pained as well. "This concerns the friendship between the Sheng and Shen families. I need to arrange it carefully. When seventh sister feels better, I'll talk to old Shen." Once this matter was told to the Shen family, it would be impossible to retrieve the spilt water and there would be no turning back. "Father, don't be fooled by Xing Xiao this time. He certainly would not miss such a good opportunity." However, he only blamed it on Mu Chichi. He did not remember who chased Xing Minghui out of the house. Was it Mu Chichi? Since it had happened, all he had to do was deny it. No matter what happened, it would always be someone else's fault. That was how Grandpa Sheng always did things. Mama Xing naturally told Xing Xiao about Xing Minghui being found. Although Mama Xing did not expect that Grandpa Sheng would use this matter to get rid of Mu Chichi. But Xing Xiao was different. Judging from Grandpa Shen's recent actions, he knew that Xing Minghui being found would be the best excuse for Grandpa Shen to lay his cards on the table with the Shen family. After all, Xing Minghui was seriously injured. "Mother, there's going to be a lot of drama at home." "What do you mean?" "Grandfather has taken a liking to the young lady of the Gu family to replace Qi. Now that seventh brother has been exposed, do you think he will miss such a good opportunity and not take advantage of it?" Mama Sheng was shocked after listening to Xing Zhao's analysis. "No wonder. After visiting seventh sister today, your third uncle and third aunt talked excitedly with old master for the whole afternoon. Do you have a plan?" "Let the old man do what he wants." Xing Xiao said, "If he wants to look for old Shen, let him. If he wants to make things clear, let him. Anyway, he doesn't care about what I think. Why should I guard against him?" "But you're just going to let the old man dissolve your relationship with Xiao Qi? Whether you admit it or not, in my heart Qi is already my wife," Xing Xiao said seriously. "It's just that the price he has to pay for doing this is a little too high. You want to, if he doesn't do anything to Qi, or I won't give up on Huang Yao. But he must have crossed the line. So I can only—" "I'm sorry." Xing Xiao had already made up his mind. "Mother, what's your decision? Your father and I have been together for so many years. Although he is not a man most of the time and can't protect this family, I don't want to give up on him just like that. If you really announce that you are leaving Huang Yao, I will go abroad to look for him," Mama Xing said. Xing Xiao held the phone and said softly, "I'm sorry, Mother. Don't say that. I know your temper. Even if Chi-Chi is not here, you will fight back when you are forced to this extent. Moreover, you have prepared a way out for me. It's just that I have other options. No matter what, just do the ideological work for the Shen family. You can let go of the Sheng family." "Thank you, Mother. Xiao Qi is still in the dark. You have to make it clear to her. Don't let her misunderstand." Sheng Xiao was very clear about that. Now that the matter was pressing, he naturally had to be prepared in advance. After the call, Sheng Xiao hung up and told Mu Qiqi, who was writing the autopsy report at home, "Pack up. We're going to the Shen family." "What time? What happened?" Mu Qiqi put down her laptop and stood up, looking at Sheng Xiao, who was changing his clothes. "You will know when the time comes." It was late at night and it was winter. When Huang Yu saw that they had arrived at the Shen family's house, she put a blanket over them. "It's so late. It's freezing. Your father and grandfather are already waiting in the study. Go." "Thank you, second aunt." Mu Qiqi tightened her grip on the blanket and followed behind Sheng Xiao. She seemed to have sensed something unusual in the atmosphere. Since they had called before, Shen Jianchuan and Grandpa Shen were waiting in the study. When they saw them, they asked, "What's the matter? Why is it so urgent that we have to meet tonight?" Mu Qiqi really wanted to know as well, but from the look in their eyes, it seemed that she had kept many things from them. Sheng Minghui was found, but she didn't end up well. The Sheng family blamed it on Qi, which is why Grandpa Shen wants to use it as a pretext. Sheng Xiao explained to them, "That's your family's business. Why are you coming to me?" Grandpa Shen snorted. How could he be happy that Sheng Xiao could not settle the Sheng family after so long? "If there are no accidents, Grandpa Shen will send you a visiting card tomorrow. Then he will use Sheng Minghui's matter to call off my engagement with Qi." Well, Grandpa Shen was furious. Does he think the Shen family is so easy to bully? "Grandpa, don't be angry. If Grandpa Shen wants to have a showdown with you tomorrow, you just have to fall out with him. If that's the case, your marriage with Xiao Qi is over," Grandpa Sheng said, pointing at Mu Qiqi. Sheng Xiao and Shen Jianchuan looked at each other and smiled. Meanwhile, Shen Jianchuan spoke up. "Father, since when is your grandson-in-law someone who suffers losses? If the Sheng family refuses to accept Mu Qiqi, you should be magnanimous and accept him as your grandson-in-law." Grandpa Shen was shocked when he heard that. He looked at Sheng Xiao in disbelief. "You are willing to marry into our family? I'm with Qi anyway. Is there a difference if I marry her or she marries me?" Sheng Xiao smiled. "That's not all." Shen Jianchuan continued. "You know that I've established Zhongting Military Industries, right? But you probably don't know who my partner is." Chapter 363. Are you really planning to leave Huang Yao? Could it be that you don't like me as your grandson-in-law, grandfather? Sheng Xiao was smiling, looking supremely confident. "I'm just afraid that the one in your family would come knocking on our door and make it impossible for me to live in peace. Although you've retired, the Shen family's reputation is still there. Moreover, second uncle's foundation is stabilizing, and the Sheng family wouldn't do anything to embarrass the Shen family openly." Sheng Xiao said very confidently. "Umph." The old man was still fuming. "No wonder you would bring Xiao Qi here in the middle of the night. If I didn't like you, brat, I wouldn't even bother with you. I'm doing this to show my attitude in advance, and I hope that you can cooperate with me and finish the show, grandfather. But you have to think this through. When your grandfather sees me tomorrow, he would officially call off your engagement." Sheng Xiao turned to look at Mu Qiqi, his gaze doting and firm. "She's never been a fiancée in my heart." Mu Qiqi did a double take and heard him continue, "She's my one and only wife." Brat. After they finished their discussion in the study, the two of them prepared to stay at the Shen residence for the night. After the two of them left Grandpa Shen's study room, Grandpa Shen said helplessly to Shen Jianchuan, "After all, we have been friends for decades. I really don't understand why I, Xiao Qi, am not good enough for his eighth brother." "Father, Sheng Xiao is sincere toward Qi, which means he's not willing to let you control her. Secondly, you're retired and Qi is a girl. It's impossible to create a comfortable space and conditions for Sheng Xiao to develop in Huang Yao. Moreover, Mu Qiqi wants to be a forensic doctor so much. Do you think old Sheng would let Mu Qiqi occupy the position of Sheng Zhao's woman? He could definitely find someone who could help Huang Yao. He has a good plan. He can't blame me for abducting his grandson. That brat is capable and bold. You just have to fulfill their wish." Shen Jianchuan looked at his father and could only smile. Anyway, old Sheng could break off the engagement. It did not matter. When the time came, Sheng Xiao could directly announce his withdrawal from Huang Yao. Let's see who would lose more. Let's talk about it tomorrow. The old man had been on the battlefield all his life. What had he not seen? Now his granddaughter's engagement was broken off? Even if eighth brother did not vent his anger, he would not be able to swallow it. The Shen family was easy to bully? Moreover, they had been friends for so many years, and yet old Sheng was still playing tricks on him. Thinking about it, all these years had really been a waste. Shen Jianchuan kept smiling. Anyway, he was just watching the show. In Mu Qiqi's room in the Shen family, Mu Qiqi was straddling Xing Xiao and tugging at his clothes. "You are hiding a lot of things from me." Xing Xiao was not annoyed. "You just lay on the bed. It was quite comfortable anyway. Didn't I tell you now? If things hadn't come to this, you wouldn't have told me." Mu Qiqi snorted. "When did you start a new company with Dad?" "Just recently," Xing Xiao replied. "Are you planning to leave the Sheng family for good?" "Yes." Xing Xiao nodded and hooked his arm around Mu Qiqi's neck. "What? Am I not to your taste just because I am not the crown prince of Huangyao? You are going to marry into the Shen family. What else is there to say?" Mu Qiqi shook his arm off and got off him. "You are not allowed to touch me tonight." Xing Xiao hugged Mu Qiqi in his arms and whispered into her ear, "There is no condom in the first place." "I am angry. Be serious." Mu Qiqi snorted. "You are not telling me anything. I'm so sad." "Little one, you are asking for a mile after being given an inch. Who am I doing this for?" That was true. From the moment she saw old Xing interfering with fourth sister's affairs, she knew that she would break off her engagement with Xing Xiao sooner or later. She had also thought about how she should solve the matter. She really did not think that Xing Xiao would leave the Sheng family completely and start his own family, even intending to marry into the Shen family. There was no telling how big a wave this matter would cause. "Little one, there might be news about us breaking off our engagement tomorrow. Let it be." Mu Qiqi replied nonchalantly. "Then I would be the one who dumped you. You are asking for a beating." Xing Xiao held Mu Qiqi down and slapped her butt. Mu Qiqi did not resist. After all, this man was never willing to use his strength and only treated it as a massage. Tomorrow, it was fine if old Xing used Xing Minghui's matter against the Shen family and Mu Qiqi and asked to break off the engagement. After all, he would use the excuse that old Xing had decided his life without his consent to get rid of the burden that was Huangyao. Was he afraid? Never. In fact, he preferred the environment and the unity of the Shen family. Many people would not be able to sleep tonight, would they? Old Xing was worried if there would be any changes in this matter, and if eighth brother would know about it in advance. On the other hand, Mama Xing was worried that something terrible would happen after Xing Xiao made things clear. But the two involved did not seem to be affected at all and were sleeping soundly. The next morning, sixth brother went to old Xing's study. "Grandpa, I thought about it all night last night. I think I should go to old Shen personally. That way I can show my attitude and determination. Take old Master Shen to the hospital directly. Then, let him see your sister's most miserable side. Also, let your parents make a scene in front of him. Only then will you have a good reason to call off the engagement with the Shen family." "I understand," sixth brother said. "Then what about Xing Xiao? Don't mind him. When the news spreads, he will come home and settle the score with me. But what is done cannot be undone. He can't do anything about it." Old Xing did not want Xing Xiao to agree in the first place. He knew that Xing Xiao would never agree. What if Xing Xiao reacts violently? He would be in a hurry to explain to Mu Qiqi. Old Xing waved his hand. "When the two of them are together, it will not be justifiable and there will be more misunderstandings. Sooner or later they will separate. Don't worry about it." "All right, let's do it." Sixth brother simply threw caution to the wind. In for a penny, in for a pound. After all, he could not wait to cut Mu Qiqi into pieces every time he saw seventh sister's face. Now, not letting her into the Sheng family was already the lightest punishment he could get. But how could the Sheng family know that Xing Xiao had already planned to retreat? You don't know gratitude after stabilizing Huangyao, do you? Plotting against me? Chapter 364. Sixth brother promptly drove to the Shen's residence after receiving his orders. Meanwhile, Xing Xiao had already left the Shen's residence with Mu Qiqi. Sixth brother would have a direct confrontation if he saw them. Although old Shen was prepared, he was still very upset when the Sheng family really came. Was old Sheng actually thinking of returning the granddaughter of the Shen family? It was good that he had brought Xing Xiao here. Old Sheng would also see how Xing Xiao would use the Shen family's current resources to rise to the top. How dare he belittle the Shen family and look down on them? Their decades of friendship really could not withstand the test. Still, old Shen would not feel guilty for abducting the crown prince of the Sheng family. After all, who was Xing Xiao? His legs were grown on his body, so who could stop him? Sixth brother was completely unaware that it was a trap. He entered the Shin family through Huang Yu and met old Shin at the fish pond without a hitch. Even before he spoke to old Shin, he thought to himself that the old man's power was truly gone. Now he could only stay at home and play with his birds, and his days were so boring. It was precisely because of this thought that they missed a very important thing, which was the mayoral election. Old Shin turned and smirked when he saw sixth brother. Still, he put down his fishing rod and walked up to sixth brother. "What's with the wind today? Even the sixth brother of the Sheng family is here." "Old Shin, I'm here to invite you to a place." Sixth brother's face showed proper respect. "Did your grandfather ask you to invite me?" "Yes." Sixth brother nodded. Old Shin washed his hands by the sink and walked ahead of sixth brother. "Wait for me at the front hall. I want to change." Soon they left together. Still, when he saw that it was not the way to the Sheng family's house, the old man couldn't help asking, "Where are we going?" "Don't worry, old Shin. You'll know when we get there." Sixth brother kept him in suspense. Soon they arrived at the hospital. Although Grandpa Shen was still puzzled, he got an answer when he entered Sheng Minghui's ward. "Isn't this Sheng Minghui?" "Exactly." Old Sixth nodded. "Seventh sister is seriously ill now. She's not in her right mind. Please forgive her for not recognizing old Shin. This, and the person who did this to seventh sister is your good granddaughter, Mu Chichi." Old Shin's face fell at that. He was about to say something when third uncle and third aunt of the Sheng family pushed open the door and entered, grabbing old Shin's arm. "Old Shin, my daughter wouldn't have ended up like this if it wasn't for Mu Chichi. She's the one who harmed her." "Old Shin, you must give us an explanation." "Old Shin, I only have one daughter in my family. However, she was tricked by a man by Mu Chichi. Now she is seriously ill and delirious. She can only spend the rest of her life in the hospital. Old Shin, please help us." With snot and tears running down their faces, the couple fought to accuse Mu Chichi to the old man. "No, you should at least tell us what happened, shouldn't you? Back then, seventh sister and your granddaughter, Shin Roi, were bewitched and wanted to harm Minglan. It was Mu Chichi's idea that made old Shin hate seventh sister and chase her out of the family. I know seventh sister is at fault, but what could a young lady like her go after she was chased out of the family? Our elder regretted it the very next day, but it was already too late. We couldn't find OL7 anywhere in the world until 2 days ago, when her brother found her in a nightclub." Third uncle of the Sheng family covered his face and sobbed. If Mu Chichi didn't come up with such an idea, things might not have turned out this way. Old Shin knew what happened this time. But it was old Sheng who gave the order. What did it have to do with Mu Chichi? Moreover, seventh sister and Shin Rui only had themselves to blame. What was there to sympathize with? He did not even mention that Shin Rui was exiled to the cold army to suffer. Old Shin, both of them held on to old Shen and cried bitterly. Soon old Sheng pushed open the door and entered. The two old men looked at each other and old Sheng sighed helplessly. "Old Shen, let's talk outside." Finally they were getting down to business. These three were really bad at acting. It was not that he did not sympathize with seventh sister, but he would not simply admit that it had nothing to do with Mu Chichi. The two old men were walking in the garden of the hospital. Grandpa Sheng was not as agile as Grandpa Shin, so he stopped and said to Grandpa Shin, "Seventh sister's matter has caused quite a stir in the Sheng family. The family has a lot of opinions about Mu Chichi, and third brother's family is even threatening to kill themselves. Grandpa Shin, I'm really troubled." Grandpa Shin looked at his old friend in front of him and suddenly felt that he was a stranger. Since when did old Sheng start beating around the bush so much? "Old Sheng, just say it if you have something to say. Perhaps our eighth brother and Mu Chichi are not fated. As a grandfather, I can't absolve myself from the blame when our family is in such a mess. That is why I've come to you shamelessly today. What I want to say is that we should forget about the marriage between our families. Mu Chichi is smart and obedient. She would definitely find a better home. But there's no telling when seventh sister would leave. She's so sick that she can't face Mu Chichi even if I look after her." Grandpa Shin fell silent after hearing this. After a while, he asked, feeling rather humiliated, "Who is more responsible for the matter between seventh sister and Shin Rui? You're the one who chased your granddaughter out of the family. Now that something has happened, you're blaming my granddaughter? It's my fault. I shouldn't have listened to Mu Chichi. Was that an apology?" Old Master Shin had finally seen it for himself. "I know that you've never acknowledged Mu Chichi from the start. You only agreed to the engagement because she's still young, and you could turn the tables on her at any time." "Old Shen, what are you talking about?" Old Xing began to quibble. Our families have been friends for decades. Why do you think that the Shin family no longer has power, Old Xing? Second brother has been elected mayor of Jianchuan just a few days ago. You don't know about that, do you? Old Xing appeared rather shocked, because the matter had not been made public yet. Still, since you've said it and made it clear, the Shin family wouldn't ask for trouble. Our granddaughter hasn't reached the point where she would throw herself at someone else. Since you've already decided that it's Muqiqi's fault, let it be. It's our granddaughter who has wronged you. I'll call off the marriage for Muqiqi. Chapter 365. Businessmen are so short-sighted. There's a saying since ancient times that the common people should not fight against the rich, and the rich should not fight against the officials. So, when it comes to the Xing family, are you saying that the Shin family is paying for it? I won't do such a thing. Since you've spoken, Old Xing, the marriage between Xing Xiao and Muqiqi is over. The Shin family will tell the world that we're breaking off our engagement with the Xing family, and I'll send someone to Seven Sisters' house to express our sincerity. Old Shin, since you have the intention of shedding all pretense of cordiality with me today, then I shall accept this favor. Old Master Shin raised his eyebrows. He did not hold back when he spoke to Old Master Sheng. Let's forget about our past relationships today. Old Xing panicked inwardly when he saw Old Shin's decisiveness. After all, he really didn't know that Muqiqi's second uncle was now the mayor of Jianchuan, and that his attention was on the Gu family. Unexpectedly, the Shin family was still the same as before. Moreover, with Shin Lin joining the army and Shin Jianchuan slowly recovering, the Shin family would still enjoy limitless glory in time. Old Shin, you're being too serious. We still hope that Muqiqi could visit the Sheng family. No need. You Sheng family might be shameless, but we are. With that, Old Shin flicked his sleeves and left. That left Old Xing rather annoyed. It was clearly his idea to build connections with the Gu family, and he had always been disdainful of Muqiqi's birth. But how could he have known that Muqiqi's background would one day rise with the tide? But there was no turning back now that the arrow had been fired. Since this matter had become a foregone conclusion, the friendship with the Shen family could only end here. The only good thing was that he could openly let Miss Gu join the Sheng family. But little did he know that his loss had just begun. Still, the truth was that Old Xing didn't feel the joy of being rid of a burden. Instead, there was an emptiness in the depths of his heart. After all, he was now an enemy of the Shen family. Even so, he couldn't come up with any countermeasure if the Shen family tried to suppress the Sheng family in secret. Otherwise, did he really think that no one could shake Jianchuan for so many years just because he was a big conglomerate? How could those who wanted to make an example out of the Sheng family not be wary of the Shen family behind the Sheng family? After a while, Old Xing returned to the ward. Sixth brother quickly went up to him and asked, "Grandpa, is it done?" "It's a success, but don't worry about buts. Muqiqi will never appear in the Sheng family again." "Isn't that a good thing? When are you going to announce the news?" "The Shen family will handle this. You don't have to worry," Old Xing told sixth brother. Although Xing Xiao had told Old Shin about it, Old Shin was still furious when he heard how Old Xing despised Xiao Qi. If it weren't for that brat's foresight and ability to judge the situation, he really wouldn't want to get married to the Sheng family. How young was Xiao Qi? Xing Xiao was almost 30, and now that he thought about it, he was at a disadvantage. Of course, Xing Xiao knew very well how strong Grandpa Shin's character was. He would not be in a good mood after this incident. That was why he planned to stay with Muqiqi at the Shin family's house for the next 2 days. Moreover, he would return home at once and accompany Old Shin to fish at the fish pond after he was done with his business in Huangyao. "I'm making a call to have someone handle your marriage with Xiao Qi." "I'll handle it myself," Xing Xiao quickly said. "You don't have to worry about it, Grandpa. The Sheng family will get it back soon anyway." "Who's your grandpa?" Now that second uncle has become the mayor, those who underestimated the Shin family would once again see the Shin family's ability. "Only fools would offend you now, wouldn't they?" "Cunning," Grandpa Shin commented. "I am happy for you, Grandpa. Although the Shin family's power is rising again, but the number of people is still too small. Second uncle and second aunt are old, so they still need to rely on us, the younger generation, to spread the branches and leaves, right? Let Chi'er go out and look for someone else. How could I treat her better than a ready-made grandson-in-law like me?" "You think too highly of yourself. Why aren't you handling the matter between you and Chi'er?" Old Shin was too lazy to be bothered. Of course, he had seen many things clearly now that the Shin family was rising again. That was why keeping a low profile before was the right thing to do. Sheng Xiao smiled and called a reporter he was familiar with. I've got some news for you. Do you want it? What's the big news? The Crown Prince of Huang Yao has broken off his engagement with Mu Qiqi, the granddaughter of the Shen family. It's because the elders of the Sheng family don't like Mu Qiqi's status. Is the news reliable? If you don't report it, the Sheng family would beat you to it. Sheng Xiao said playfully. The reporter promptly asked to hang up at that. I'm going to write my draft. After all, the feud between rich families was always good material for gossip. Of course, with Sheng Xiao letting the news out like that, it was all the Sheng family's fault. Looking down on Mu Qiqi's background? In any case, she was the legitimate daughter of the Shen family, the mayor's niece. How could the Sheng family look down on that? Were they going to marry the empress? Therefore, before the Sheng family could inform the rest of Huang Yao, the news had already spread. Lu Qianqian, Su Zipei and Jing Yun all called Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi was still busy with the autopsy and could only reply them one by one. The news is real, but my relationship with Xiao Xiao isn't affected. There's more exciting things to come, so you don't have to worry. The Sheng family is abandoning the little bride just like that? To tell the truth, Mu Qiqi is only 19, while the Crown Prince is 27. Isn't it obvious who's the winner? The Crown Prince likes Mu Qiqi so much, but the elders still control his marriage. The Sheng family really doesn't know what's good for them. Let me tell you a secret. The Shen family has just won the election and is flourishing, but the Sheng family is actually looking down on them? Whatever the case, the two have broken off their engagement in name. There are plenty of young geniuses and young ladies. They have a chance now. What a pity. I really want to see how the people react. How the people react. What kind of reaction? The news that they revealed themselves. The Sheng family would be cursed by the world this time. Of course, none of that worried old Sheng. He was more worried that Sheng Xiao would go berserk. Just worried? No way. Now that Sheng Xiao had calmed the Shen family down, wasn't it obvious what he was going to do next? Did the old man think that he would go to the Sheng family and cause a scene? He was too lazy to do that. Tonight, I'll let the old master worry for a night. Tomorrow? Chapter 366. In the evening, Mu Qiqi returned to the Shen's residence. She could not help rolling her eyes when she saw Sheng Xiao. My phone is exploding from all the calls. You did it? Sheng Xiao pulled her into his arms and whispered into her ear, isn't it good to stand up for the Sheng family? How would I know there would be such a huge reaction? You don't know how many sympathetic gazes I get wherever I go. Sheng Xiao could not help chuckling at that. My cheer is fine. Why would she need sympathy? Humph. Others don't know. All right. You stink. Go take a shower and have dinner. I've brought the perfume for you. Mu Qiqi nodded and went to the bathroom to wash up. Still, the stench of corpses on her spread from the main entrance to every corner of the Shen's residence. Even old Shen could not help asking what that smell was. Sheng Xiao only explained then. She's just observing corpses. Old Shen nodded and looked at Sheng Xiao. That's too smelly. It's like this every day. I'm used to it. Really? Why must she be a forensic doctor? The old man did not dislike the profession, but the fact that it was a job that women could not bear. She's an assistant in the criminal investigation team now. She's not just observing. Sheng Xiao smiled in agreement. That was something the old man was quite satisfied with. The kid had really accepted everything about Xiao Qi, be it good or bad. Even if it was the stench of corpses, he would enjoy it every day. When do you plan to announce your departure from Huang Yao? Tomorrow. He did not do it tonight to keep the Sheng family uneasy. And old Sheng would definitely know that he was at the Shen's residence tonight, thinking that he was trying to make Mu Qiqi happy. Let's eat. The old man did not say anything else. He did not need to show up anyway. Meanwhile, in the dining room of the Sheng's residence, the Sheng family was puzzled that Sheng Xiao did not come back to trouble the old man. Although old Sheng guessed that Sheng Xiao would definitely try to coax Mu Qiqi and explain, it was not his style to not show up until now. Let's not wait. Let's eat. Everyone started to move their bowls and chopsticks. At that moment, Mama Sheng said to Grandpa Sheng, Dad, I've booked a plane ticket to leave Jianchuan tomorrow. Are you going to find boss? It's all thanks to you that I feel that staying in the Sheng family is like hell. You made 8th brother and Mu Qiqi break off their engagement and worked with 6th brother's family to put on a show and force old Shen to agree. You didn't tell me about it at all. I think you don't need me as your daughter-in-law, so I want to leave. Eldest aunt. 6th brother called out apprehensively. Until now, I only have one thing to say. Xing Minghui deserved what she got. And the one who caused all this was not Mu Chichi but the old man in front of you. After that, Mama Xing got up from the dining table. Take your time. I won't be accompanying you. Old Xing did not stop Mama Xing, because he believed that Mama Xing could not make a decision on Xing Zhao's matter. Moreover, Miss Gu would be joining the Xing family soon. With that being the case, it was better to fulfill her wish so that she would not mess things up. Grandpa. Eighth brother isn't back at this hour. Could he have done something unthinkable? It turned out that sixth brother was still afraid. Can he ascend to the heavens or dive into the earth? You would know to look for me when he comes back. Just do whatever you need to do. Old Xing wiped his hands with a napkin and quietly ate his dinner. Soon Mama Xing left the Xing family's house with her luggage. She had no attachment to the Xing family at all. She would rather sleep in a hotel tonight than stay with those ingrates. Second brother could not stand it anymore, and only went up to her to carry her luggage. I'll see you off, eldest aunt. Since second brother was Xing Zhao's chosen successor, she did not reject him. Huang Yao depends on you from now on. Second brother smiled, not understanding Mama Xing's words. There's still eighth brother. Still, he had given his heart and soul for the Xing family, but was treated like this. He must be feeling terrible. Terrible? Mama Xing snorted. There was no telling who would be the one feeling terrible tomorrow. Mama Xing gave Xing Xiao a call when they reached the hotel, and Xing Xiao brought Mu Chichi to the hotel and personally sent her to the airport the next morning. Be careful when I'm not by your side from now on. Mom, you have to visit us often. Mu Chichi said, hugging Mama Xing. Take care of Mu Chichi, eighth brother. Don't let her suffer. The Xing family is so heartless. Xing Xiao smiled and pointed at the security checkpoint. It's almost time. Go. It's not like we won't meet again. Remember not to bully Mu Chichi. Or remember? Mu Chichi was really touched. Although she had never experienced motherly love from Su Ziqing, Mama Xing treated her like her own daughter, and would spare no effort for her and Xing Xiao. Soon Mama Xing's figure disappeared through the security checkpoint. That was when Mu Chichi sighed. I have one less family. Xing Xiao put his arm around Mu Chichi's shoulder and led her out of the airport. It's Mom's choice. I know. I just feel bad. Alright, I'll send you to the forensics lab. I still have things to do. Xing Xiao quickly changed the subject with his little one, or she would keep thinking about him. Are you going to fight the Xing family? Fight? Not really. I'm just spreading some news. With that, Xing Xiao started his sports car and sent Mu Chichi to the forensics lab. Meanwhile, the Xing family was even more anxious. Logically speaking, they would only feel normal after Xing Xiao caused a ruckus. Otherwise, it would be the calm before the storm as long as Xing Xiao did not show up. Hoping for Xing Xiao to show up. What a shame. Xing Xiao would never show up. Soon, old Xing received a call from the director of Huang Yao. What's going on? Xing Xiao hasn't come to work yet. Asterisk. Meanwhile, Xing Zhao's resignation letter was handed to second brother, who was stunned when he read it. Meanwhile, the secretary was asking second brother about the meeting that Xing Xiao was supposed to be hosting. Should we keep waiting for the crown prince? Second brother had a complicated look on his face and only said one thing. No need. He won't show up again. At the same time, a reporter from a financial magazine received the news. Xing Xiao, the crown prince of Huang Yao, has publicly announced that he is resigning as the CEO of Huang Yao and leaving the company forever. From now on, he would never meddle in Huang Yao's affairs. This is the second time the crown prince has resigned from Huang Yao this year. Chapter 367. Even so, the old man was dismissive when he heard the news. Eighth brother was playing that trick again. He had threatened him with ignoring Huang Yao the last time. Was he going to play the same trick again? Unfortunately, the old man would not fall for it. That was why old Xing was not concerned at all when news of Xing Zhao's departure from Huang Yao spread like wildfire. That was until second brother returned home with Xing Zhao's resignation letter and share transfer letter. As the deputy CEO of Huang Yao, do you need me to teach you how to hold your ground in the company when eighth brother is being willful? Sixth brother even sneered. Second brother, you haven't seen eighth brother's tricks, but I've seen it once. He's doing this just to make grandpa compromise. In a few days he'll come back when he's achieved his goal. Second brother, however, was not as optimistic as they were. He directly handed over Xing Zhao's resignation letter and the transfer of his shares. The old man took a look at it and immediately took 2 steps back. This was all handed over by eighth brother? Eighth brother wouldn't show his face at all, and only had his assistant deliver these things. Grandfather, no matter how willful he was in the past, it's clear that he's not joking this time. The old man's expression changed completely. Sixth brother snatched it for a look and was shocked. Eighth brother is serious? Grandfather, did you not think that eighth brother would really be angry after you caused such a ruckus and broke off the engagement with the Shen family on your own? Who in the family doesn't know how scary his anger is? Have you ever thought that eighth brother would really abandon Huang Yao? The old man really did not think that way because Huang Yao had given Xing Xiao unparalleled glory and status. That was why he did not believe that Xing Xiao would give up on the family's power and wealth. No, he did not believe that eighth brother would give it all up even now. Where is eighth brother now? Old Xing asked. We broke off our engagement with the Shen family yesterday, and eighth brother had someone deliver these things today. With Xiao Qin's departure yesterday, it's easy to imagine that the bastard had planned for this day to come. Eighth brother is probably at the Shen family's residence now. Second brother answered. I'll go look for him now. Right now, the Shen family is not a place that just anyone can enter. Second brother reminded old Sheng. Grandfather, you should know that second uncle of the Shen family has been elected mayor of Jianchuan, right? The old man took a deep breath and tried to suppress the anger in his heart. Then find eighth brother for me? Since he doesn't even want to go to Huang Yao now, he naturally doesn't want to see you. The more important thing now is to stabilize Huang Yao. Grandfather, I'm afraid you'll have to do it yourself this time. Didn't eighth brother just get rid of Mu Chichi? Is there a need for such a big reaction? Second brother glared at sixth brother at that. You really should be grateful to eighth brother for having such a good life now. When he's gone, you'll know how your life would change dramatically. That's right, sixth brother. You should be grateful to eighth brother. Sixth brother was unconcerned. After all, would Huang Yao crumble just because Xing Xiao was gone after so many years of standing? Naturally, second brother could not be bothered to waste words with him, and promptly followed the old man, heading to Huang Yao to appease the shareholders. At first, old Xing had wanted to hide the fact that Xing Xiao had handed in his resignation letter and transferred his shares. However, Xing Xiao had already revealed the details to the reporters, which was why the old man could not hide the fact that Xing Xiao was leaving Huang Yao at all. Huang Yao was in a state of turmoil all at once, just as rumors spread everywhere. At the end of the day, it was all because the old man had taken the liberty to call off the engagement with the Shen family, which was why Xing Xiao had such a drastic reaction. No, it might have seemed urgent and fierce to outsiders, but he had been planning it for some time. Otherwise, he would not have been able to provide whatever the old man needed. It looks like the crown prince is really going to leave the Sheng family. He can't even protect his own woman. Perhaps Xing Xiao thinks that being the crown prince is useless, and simply doesn't want it anymore. I don't have to say it, but is the head of the Sheng family blind? It's already very unwise to call off the engagement with the Shen family at this juncture. Why would he underestimate the crown prince's influence on Huang Yao? The outside world was very clear about the matter. Sheng Zhao's actions were clearly provoking the old man. Huang Yao's board of directors called for an emergency meeting, but old Sheng could only keep the shareholders at bay for now, even promising to bring Xing Xiao back. After that, he wanted to meet Xing Xiao, but found that the security was much tighter when he arrived at the Shen family's residence. Remembering how he had humiliated old Xing yesterday, old Xing did not want to show up now. Even so, he had to meet Xing Xiao. In the past, old Xing did not have to go through strict checks when he entered the Shen family, but he was stopped by the guards now. When the guard saw that it was him in the car, he promptly told the old man, "I'm sorry, old Mr. Shen. Mayor Shen has decreed that he will not meet any Xing family member who comes to the Shen's residence. I hope you can understand our hardships and turn back." "Me too? You're first in line. It's fine if you don't want to meet me. Hand over my grandson." "I'm sorry, old Mr. Sheng. Young master is free to come and go in the Shen's residence, and no one is giving him a hard time. His legs are his and there's nothing we can do if he doesn't want to come out." Old Xing angrily closed the car window and was forced to return home. He really did not expect Xing Xiao to be so decisive. Find out where Mu Chichi is right now. I want to meet her, and Xing Xiao wouldn't lock her up, would he? Mu Chichi was at the forensics lab, but Su Che was with her at the moment. Old Xing arrived at the entrance of the forensics lab, and when Mu Chichi finally came out, he ordered his men to capture her. But Su Che knocked out one of his front teeth with a single punch. Su Che blocked Mu Chichi's way, and before Mu Chichi could see who was in the car, he had Mu Chichi get in and drive off right in front of old Xing. That was how useful Su Che was. Trained in the special forces, it was not a problem for him to fight 5 people alone. Hence, the old man had no choice but to return to the Sheng family's residence. That was when everyone in the Sheng family came to ask if the old man had seen Sheng Xiao. Second brother watched the old man's expression closely, and quickly knew the answer. Perhaps. Chapter 368. Second brother, you should take over Huang Yao since 8th brother has made you deputy chief. Grandpa, let me try. Who knows, 8th brother might want to see me? Second brother suggested. I might not be able to bring 8th brother back, but I would know what he wants and if there's still room for redemption. It's the same even if you go. It's the Su family's banquet tomorrow and 8th brother would definitely be there. We'll talk about it then. The old man said tiredly. Second brother was very worried. He followed behind the old man. Grandpa, I'm only doing this to find a better wife for him. What's wrong with that? Second brother couldn't comment on the old man's actions, but he fully understood why Sheng Xiao would retaliate like that. Huang Yao was in a mess right now, and the gossip magazines were not letting the Sheng family off the hook either, and kept digging for the latest news. Old Shen finally vented his frustrations at the sight of the Sheng family. Despising the granddaughter of the Shen family? During dinner, Old Shen sneaked a few glances at Sheng Xiao before saying, Your grandfather came to look for you? I expected that and I know you didn't let him in, Grandpa. How so? Aren't the guards in the Shen family a lot stricter? Sheng Xiao answered Grandpa Shen naturally. Have you vented your anger? Grandpa Shen asked. Old Shen snorted. Here and I are returning to Jingting tonight. We'll be there for Jing Yun's banquet tomorrow, and the old man would know and look for me at the Su family's banquet. Don't forget your promise. What else can I do now that I've handed everything I own to you? Sheng Xiao smiled. I'm not going back since I've decided to leave Huang Yao. Still, now's not the time to announce our new company. When the time is right, I'll let the Sheng family know that I can't go back. Aren't you afraid that your grandfather would be heartbroken? He has a better choice. Sheng Xiao said simply. Of course, he knew very well that old Sheng would not let him go so easily, but this time he would never step through the gates of the Sheng family no matter what. Now that Grandpa Shen had vented his anger, he felt much better. Do as you youngsters please. With that, Sheng Xiao left the Shen's residence with Mu Qiqi. Old Sheng would never have expected that Sheng Xiao would return to Jingting. Mama Sheng had arranged this house for him and paid for it in full. That was why Sheng Xiao could continue living here. Today I was almost kidnapped by your grandfather at the entrance of the Criminal Investigation Unit. Sheng Xiao carried Mu Qiqi and led her upstairs to the bedroom. That's why I let Su Che follow you. Where did Su Che come from? From what I can see, his opponent's teeth are all gone. A veteran of the Special Forces. Sheng Xiao looked at her little face and answered. Mu Qiqi nodded. No wonder. This man had really arranged everything. Sheng Xiao brought Mu Qiqi back to the bedroom and placed her in the bathtub. He filled the bathtub with hot water for her before they lay down together. Mu Qiqi saw him closing his eyes lazily, so she took the initiative to kiss him. How do you plan to deal with the reunion party tomorrow? Your grandfather will definitely go. I'll deal with it as it comes. Sheng Xiao replied with a half-smile. Instead of worrying about what will happen to me tomorrow, you should worry about what will happen to you right now. Sheng Xiao pinched Mu Qiqi's chin and a ferocious kiss followed. Mu Qiqi did not even have time to react before she was pinned beneath him. I haven't tried it in the water yet. Do you want it? Mu Qiqi gasped. She had no control at all. Even now he was asking her if she wanted it. The man was deliberately messing with her. Would you stop if I say I don't want it? Sheng Xiao smiled seductively in that very instant and whispered into Mu Qiqi's ear. I'll answer you. I'll just rub and not go in. Sheng Xiao was having a good time here, but the Sheng family was in a mess right now. Soon, the shareholders would not be able to hold their ground, much less the partners of Huang Yao. Second brother's ability was certainly incomparable to sixth brother's, but his foundation was not yet stable, and he could not win the trust of the shareholders and partners. How could I have such an animal? Huang Yao is such a huge business and he just threw it away like that. What else does he want? The CEO of Huang Yao has more shares than anyone else, and yet he's not satisfied? Grandfather, you know very well what he wants. Second brother told the old man. That's impossible. It was not easy for him to get rid of Mu Qiqi, and he would not slap himself in the face and get Mu Qiqi back. Second brother, you have to work hard for a while to stabilize Huang Yao. You don't have to worry about what eighth brother did before and just go for it. I'll do my best, grandfather. Even so, there was only one Xing Xiao in this world, and only those who had seen him with their own eyes would know how miraculous he was. Even if second brother was outstanding, he was merely a manager who was slightly better than the average person among the masses compared to a genius like Xing Xiao. Eighth brother, are you so sure that I would admit defeat? After all, the old man believed that Xing Xiao was only trying to fight back from the jaws of death. He had played the same trick last time, and naturally could not scare the old man, which was why he was increasing his stakes this time. This time we'll see who can keep their composure. The old man was waiting for Xing Xiao to understand that he would not compromise this time. Even so, he did not know that all he got was Xing Xiao announcing the establishment of a new company. Of course, he would bring second brother to the Su family's banquet tomorrow. At the very least, he would have a good talk with that animal before the confrontation. Over the years, Xing Xiao had been demanding nothing from the Sheng family. Regardless of how the Sheng family viewed him, he had managed Huang Yao well. Even so, the old man could not tolerate Mu Qiqi. The entire Sheng family was under the protection of his ability, but none of them were grateful. How many people actually worked in Huang Yao with such a huge group and such a huge family business? That was the part where second brother understood Xing Xiao best. All they saw was Xing Xiao basking in the glory of the crown prince and being respected and feared by all of Jianchuan. However, they did not know how much effort Xing Xiao had put in behind the scenes, and how much responsibility he had shouldered for the Sheng family. Second brother knew very well that whether the old man could meet Xing Xiao tomorrow. Chapter 369. Still, there was no telling when the old man would wake up from his sweet dreams. On the next day, the Su family's reunion banquet was held in their manor. Meanwhile, Jing Yun had received the results of the DNA test between him and Su Yihong the previous afternoon. Since he did not have Papa Su's DNA sample and they were cousins, he had done a paternity test instead of a paternity test. Just as Xing Xiao expected, Su Yihong was definitely not the Su couple's son, nor was he Jing Yun's biological brother. Jing Yun's heart was much more at ease now that he had obtained such evidence. Many mysteries had been solved because of it. Still, it would take some time for Su Yihong to personally admit that he had abandoned him at Jianchuan. Today the Su family had a full house of guests. Many who knew the Su family well knew that their third son had gone missing many years ago, and since it was a reunion banquet, it meant that their son had been found. Still, there was no telling what kind of person the third son of the Su family was. The Su couple had come out to greet the guests early on, while Jing Yun waited for Xing Minglan to dress up before leaving the room. The guests were all curious when they saw Jing Yun. Wasn't that the crown prince's assistant? Normal people might not have noticed who Xing Zhao's former assistant was, but there were few among the nobles who did not know. This is my Feng'er, our long-lost child. Mama Su introduced him to the guests. The guests thought about it and realized that Jing Yun was definitely an orphan. We've really worn out iron shoes in search of him. That child is doing well in the Sheng family, but I didn't expect him to be the third son of the Su family. Isn't that so? He really looks like a talent. The guests all began to praise him while Su Yihong was greeting the guests as well. Although he really did not want Jing Yun to appear before them and be acknowledged, his parents were not easy to fool. Moreover, Jing Yun was careful enough, which was why the trick Su Yihong came up with had not worked on him yet. I really didn't expect that the former assistant of the Sheng family would be the third son of the Su family. There's no telling what the Sheng family has fallen into this time. First, they lost Mu Qiqi, the mayor's niece, and now they've lost Jing Yun, the third young master of the Su family. Oh my, they're really hurting. Even as the guests spoke, old Xing had already led second brother into the Su family's manor. Although Su Minglan's parents were reluctant, he was still Xing Minglan's grandfather and Jing Yun was indebted to him. Old Xing, you're here. Please take a seat. Papa Su quickly greeted him. Congratulations on finding your son. It's all thanks to Elder Sheng that we can see our son again. Knowing that Xing Xiao had left Huang Yao, Xing Minglan did not hate the old man that much. Hence she greeted him, Grandpa. Minglan, let's go to the side and talk. Xing Minglan knew that the old man was probably going to ask her about Xing Xiao, but she really did not know anything about Xing Xiao leaving the Xing family. Even so, the grandfather and grandson still walked to a deserted corner. You know what happened to eighth brother, right? I learned about it from the news. Xing Minglan answered honestly. Huang Yao is a pile of loose sand right now. If you could you return to Huang Yao and help Grandpa? Old Xing asked Xing Minglan. You should know how much damage Huang Yao would suffer from eighth brother's departure. If you were a Xing, wouldn't you help Grandpa in times of need? Grandpa doesn't object to you and Jingyun now. Is that all right? I need to think about it. Think about it? Did Xing Minglan think that the old man was asking her to return because he needed her as his granddaughter? That was not it. The old man was asking her to return because he needed the Su family's backing. Now that Huang Yao was in a precarious situation, he would have an excuse to keep the shareholders in line with his in-laws. Of course, Xing Minglan did not think as deeply as he did. Even so, he could not hide his thoughts from Jing Yun and Xing Xiao. Jing Yun promptly told Xing Minglan, I won't stop you if you want to return. As long as you're happy, it's fine. But you should know that Grandpa's real purpose is to use the Su family's backing to stabilize Huang Yao. Xing Minglan felt a chill down her spine at those words. Why was it that she, as a grandfather, was always scheming against her family? Soon, Xing Xiao led Mu Qiqi into the banquet hall. The crown prince of Huang Yao. All the guests' eyes were on the man and Mu Qiqi. No, he was no longer the crown prince of Huang Yao. Even so, his regal demeanor was still wholeheartedly convincing. It was the first time the Su couple had seen him in all his glory, and they soon had to admit that he was a legend. Chief Su, Madam Su. Xing Xiao greeted them politely. Oh, young Master Sheng is truly extraordinary, it's Fenger's fortune that you could groom him. Mama Su quickly praised him. That's right. You flatter me, Madam Su. Xing Xiao's eyes found old Xing beside them, but he ignored him. The guests were curious as well. What was going to happen between Xing Xiao and the old man? Young Master Sheng, please forgive us for our lack of hospitality since there are too many guests today. Please help yourself. Xing Xiao nodded and was about to greet Jing Yun with Mu Qiqi, but old Xing walked up to Xing Xiao and said, Come with me. Old Xing walked ahead, assuming that Xing Xiao would follow him. However, Xing Xiao simply pretended not to hear him and walked straight to Jing Yun. Have you gotten the test results? Yes, just as you expected. Jing Yun nodded. Then when do you intend to make this matter public? When I get another piece of evidence. Jing Yun answered Xing Xiao calmly. Meanwhile, second brother walked up to Xing Xiao and told him, Eighth brother, you should give grandfather some face in such an occasion. Eighth brother, in such an occasion, you should give grandfather some face. He is waiting to see you in the garden. Xing Xiao leveled second brother a sidelong glance and nodded after a moment. If you want me to drive him crazy, I can meet him. You left the Sheng family out of the blue and left such a huge mess. You should give grandfather an explanation, be it public or private. My fiancé is suddenly no longer my fiancé. Who can give me an explanation? Xing Xiao asked second brother in return, lowering his head to look at Mu Qiqi. Still, he did not give second brother a hard time, and instead clapped Mu Qiqi on the back of her hand. Talk to fourth sister. I'll be right back. Will he be fine? Chapter 370. Mu Qiqi walked towards Xing Minglan. The two sisters shared a look, but Xing Minglan was still worried. Why don't you go with him? I really don't know how eighth brother's temper would piss grandpa off. Fourth sister, you know how much the old man hates me. It would be weird if he didn't faint from anger if I really went with Xiao Xiao. Mu Qiqi shrugged. Xing Minglan chuckled at that. That's true. Grandpa would probably skin you alive now that eighth brother is leaving the Xing family. Actually, you don't have to worry. The old man would never let anything happen to him before he achieves his goal. Do you blame him, Qiqi? It doesn't matter. He has his own position. Mu Qiqi did not have the mood to remember someone who hated her every moment. Wasn't that just making things difficult for herself? Mu Qiqi looked around at the guests, her gaze eventually landing on Su Yihong. I think all of you should focus on that man today. After all, Mu Qiqi did not believe that Su Yihong would let go of any chance to deal with Jing Yun in such an occasion. Of course, the evidence in Jing Yun's hands would be exposed as soon as he moved. When that happens, wouldn't it be clear who was the one who lost more than he gained? Meanwhile, Xing Xiao had gone to the Su family's garden, and found the old man leaning on his walking stick under the shade of a tree. His benevolent countenance would have drawn people to him, but who would have thought that an old man with such a face would have such a stubborn mind? Xing Xiao slowly walked up behind the old man and asked, What do you have to say? Say it. The old man turned in a hurry to glare at Xing Xiao, his walking stick almost hitting Xing Xiao. You're abandoning Huang Yao for a woman? Just say what you want, eighth brother. Why do you have to cause such a ruckus every time before you're happy? Are you threatening me? Huang Yao is yours when I'm old. You're ruining your own career. After Xing Xiao heard that, he approached the tree trunk and leaned against it. He smiled. These things again. Can't you feel a little fresh? If you don't pretend to give up on Huang Yao, you don't have to listen to me now. Surely you don't think that I was joking with you when I left Huang Yao, do you? Xing Zhao's gaze suddenly turned sharp as he stared at old Xing seriously. Don't tell me you're not forcing me to submit? Grandpa Xing sneered. You just want me to acknowledge Mu Chichi. You just want me to admit defeat before you feel happy. Grandpa. It was rare for Xing Zhao to speak in such a serious tone. I don't want to force you to be with Qi, I can easily achieve that if I leave the Sheng family. Why would I go through so much trouble to torture myself? Stop acting. Can you give up on the Sheng family's wealth and status? My wealth and status were never given by the Sheng family. You have to understand why the world calls me the Crown Prince. It's not because of the Sheng family but because I've never lost to anyone, Xing Zhao said confidently. That is why I could rely on my own abilities to create another Huang Yao even if I'm not with the Sheng family. So why should I listen to your control? Old Sheng was speechless. Which part of Huang Yao or the Sheng family is worth my nostalgia for? If you think so highly of the young lady of the Gu family, why don't you marry her as a concubine? Wouldn't that be perfect? You know? Old Sheng's eyes widened at Xing Zhao. Do you think your every move has any privacy from me? Xing Zhao said, straightening. You can keep controlling the Sheng family and meddle with your children, but that doesn't include me. I'll say it one last time. Please pretend that I'm dead from now on. With that, Xing Zhao moved to leave but the old man held him back. The Sheng family has raised you. What right do you have to choose? Whether it's Huang Yao or the Sheng family, it's all your responsibility. You can't escape it. Don't you want Mu Chichi? Fine. After you marry the young lady of the Gu family and make Mu Chichi your secret lover, I can turn a blind eye. Take back what you said just now. I still have some respect for you. Xing Zhao's voice turned cold. Don't forget that Huang Yao wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for me. I can agree to anything you want, aside from being with Mu Chichi. Even 10 Huang Yaos wouldn't compare to one Mu Chichi. With that, Xing Zhao left under the shade of the tree, leaving old Xing to sulk under the tree. Second brother walked up to the old man and asked, How is it, Grandpa? That bastard. He insisted that I accept Mu Chichi. After all, he had always believed that the main problem between him and Xing Zhao was Mu Chichi. Then you, come let's go back. The old man refused to admit defeat. Talk to Huang Yao's partners and cut all ties with eighth brother. I'd like to see who would be his friend without Huang Yao's protection. Even so, second brother knew very well that Xing Zhao wouldn't be Xing Zhao if he was afraid of such things. Grandpa, don't let your anger ruin your health. I really owe him in my past life. Xing Zhao returned to the banquet hall, and Mu Chichi turned to look at her man. Xing Minglan approached him worriedly. Have you talked to Grandpa? Xing Zhao lowered his head and took a glass of champagne from a waiter's tray before smiling. He still doesn't seem to accept the fact that I've left Huang Yao. Are you really not going back? Xing Zhao did not answer Xing Minglan, and instead put his arm over Mu Chichi's shoulder. But what are you going to do after you leave the Sheng family? You have to protect her, don't you? Perhaps even the old man believed that he would achieve nothing without someone to rely on after leaving Huang Yao. That was why the old man insisted that he would never give up on everything Huang Yao had at his fingertips. He was just throwing a tantrum. But that was fine. He would let the old man think that way because he would know that there was no going back when Zhongting went public. Let's just pretend that I have nothing now. Looking around, every guest present was praising Xing Zhao and Jing Yun for being young and promising, which naturally left Sui home with a deadly sense of danger. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.